All right, interview chat. Let's get this thing fired up. All right, comment section is on. Are we recording? Yeah, we live. And let me put this over here. Put this up here. I'm gonna go to my live streams. I gotta add a thumbnail on this guy. I also gotta remind myself that when I do these live streams as well, I should probably invest in cutting out this part where I do all those stupid technical stuff. I wish Ecamm just kind of Doc, if you're here, I definitely 1000% need Ecamm to let me put a thumbnail before I post a live, so that way it makes my life a lot easier. All right, there we go. That's up there. Now we're here. All right, so Ike's in the building. What's going on? I'm gonna let people kind of pile in. Hello from Belgium. Love your content. Hey, thank you, man. Also, we are trying a new microphone today. I need you guys to let me know if this actually sounds good or not. Oh, it's a MacBook microphone. No, that's not what I want. I want... Let me know how this sounds. I'm not too sure. This is a new microphone. I haven't figured out entirely how to use it properly just yet. So let me know if this audio is actually halfway decent, because as people start to pile in, I need help. So this isn't it. Is it? Can I? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. So we have Sony A7V. You can tell. Put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it. That's the screen. Sony of Canada is kind enough and nice enough, despite pretty much everyone that is very, very angry. They let me use this guy. So I have this until Thursday. They also let me borrow a 24-70 Mark II and a 70-200. I have a bunch of shoots that are organized because I don't like having complete opinions about cameras until I've used them. So I'm shooting today in about 2 hours. I'm going to leave in about 2 hours. And I'm going to do one of the first of like 6 shoots. I also have obviously the way that I learn about stuff is I will do comparison videos. That's just how I could contextualize what a camera can do, put it beside a camera that could also do it or can't do it. So that makes a lot more sense. MacBook sounded better. I don't know what this microphone sounds like, and I also might be doing something wrong because this Mauno mic has there's an EQ app that's in it. I don't know how to access that app yet. So while I'm doing this review this week, I have to figure that out. So as long as it sounds decent. Are you going to do an overheating test at some point? I could try. I live in Canada. Canada's really, really cold. It's what's -11 in Fahrenheit? Celsius to Fahrenheit. Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. What's -11? It's 12 degrees outside. It's 12 degrees outside. Can I ask you about the Sony? I've been watching some of your Canon comparison videos. If you weren't looking at the price, would you buy a C50 or a C80? Oh, I think I'd get a C50 and I'd get really good ND filters. I think I would get a C50 and I'd get really good ND, especially if it's my only camera. Yeah, because I think because I used to have the C70. I didn't like the form factor. It didn't do much for me, but I do like how the ergonomics of the C50. I want just like we want every camera to have 3x2. I would love if every kind of compact cinema camera was exactly the C50. That would make life way more easier. Even I hate doing this but it's right beside me. I have my Pixis 12K, and that wasn't that felt like a flex. Anyway, if that had the same audio top handle where the mini XLRs were on the top handle and you also had the run stop button on the handle, I would want every camera to do that. So it's shorts and t-shirt weather, Kofi. Join a poll. No. So Greg wants me to partake in palm colored activities, which I'm not doing. I'm doing the complete opposite. I go to Africa in 3 weeks, and I will come back maybe in February, but I also will probably travel again in February. I don't want to be here in the snow. The idea that there's winter outside and you guys want me to go and play in that, absolutely no. Brad Kofi, it's the same from the UK. You know what's wild? My parents can speak full tree, and they don't have accents. Somehow I've adopted one whenever I read one tree. Can you test the time code with generators? Yeah, I don't have one. Like I don't have a Bluetooth one, and there's no time code port in here. Like it doesn't have um like you can still use time code on cameras that don't have time code like dedicated ports in it or don't have like B and C connection. The hard part with this guy is that you have to use the Atomos has a blue time code port, which I don't have. So if I could get my hands on one, if anybody is in Toronto and they have that Bluetooth time code port, I could try that out, and I could see if that actually works. With your C50 answer, which screw-on ND filters are best? I personally like Nisi's. Anything that's like a true color, and when they mean true color, it doesn't necessarily mean like this is the most neutral ever. I think what ends up happening when you like make the glass for NDs, it skews a little bit yellow and green. But Nisi, Freewell, and I want to say there's another company that does it. I think they counteract that by almost making the glass itself a bit more purple because purple and green are opposites each other on a color spectrum. So it meets itself in the middle and it becomes a little bit more neutral. Where other ND filters, like when you're making the cross polarization, it does have a little bit of a tint to it. I think they're just making the color of that glass a different color. But I have the Nisi Jet Mags and they've been great for me. All set for the review. I haven't reviewed this yet. Like I picked this up last night. I don't shoot till it's 11:30 now. I don't shoot till 2:30, so I have like 3 hours. Do you have Tamron lenses for testing burst rates? No, but I do have a very obscure lens, and it's going to be the Laowa 10mm for E-mount. I'm going to test that tomorrow. I'll be at the normal studio that I'm at, so if you guys are ever in Toronto, shout out to these guys, Viva Studios, Viva Camera. They're in Toronto. I rent all my stuff through there. When I do my videos, I go and use their studios and stuff like that. And they've been really cool. So I'm going to go and test out some of their Sony lenses because they have some third-party stuff. I also have a Blazar Apex lens. I think I could try that on and maybe see if I can get photos out of that. Nothing wrong with flexing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but people get really mad sometimes when you do it too much. Why do people focus so much on specs when a new camera comes out? Sure, the A75 is not that big a leap, but something you make, but still upgrade than the previous one. Because cameras unfortunately don't exist in a vacuum. And when you're heading into a recession where people don't have enough money or the budgets are getting cut, people are going to look for ways to evaluate how much money they're spending for their dollar, and they're going to look for more value purchases. And that's why these conversations are happening. The reason why the conversation about the A75 is happening is because most people only want to spend $3,000 on a camera once in the span of 5 or 6 years. And when you look across the aisle and other cameras offer those things, you start to ask why. And if the answer to why that is not happening is we don't feel like it or we don't think you need it, it doesn't identify that we can't do it. It identifies that we don't want to. And I think that's why people are frustrated. Still doesn't require name calling, though, or cussing people out in a podcast. I thought that was weird. C80 and the Pixis 12K and the C80 is the same price, though. Would you say the Pixis is a superior option? Very much depends on what you value out of the camera. Never owned a Blackmagic camera. Blackmagic actually is the reason why I got a Canon camera, because I got a Pocket 4K around like 2019 when the pandemic happened and like no one was working, but like there was a weird loop around in Ontario where you could work technically if you got a certification. I You're asking the wrong guy. I am completely partial to the Pixis 12K, and I will be. So asking me anything versus Pixis 12K, I will say Pixis 12K. You say Pixis 12K versus Pixis 12K, I'll say Pixis 12K again. So in that comparison, I'm not a good person to ask that because I will tell you Pixis 12K even if it's a detriment to you. Don't ask me. There's very few cameras that I'm entirely biased to. The Pixis 12K I asked for pie in the sky when the Pixis 6K came out. I will be biased to that to the cows come home. What's the selling point for the A75 over the A74? I get that it has a new screen that can rotate, articulate, but I really want to see if there's anything that truly makes it an upgrade. Andrew, actually, so this is where I will give Sony their flowers. Everything that people had gripes about with the A7 IV got addressed on the A7V. The problem I think that there is that we're acknowledging that like access to everything else exists, but like for just like Cole's notes here, the sensor being kind of re-engineered and being semi-stacked, what that helps out with doing is it makes the sensor faster. And that was a big problem with people on the A7 IV, like myself included. I shot a lot of sports. I shot a lot of CrossFit. I shot with fitness brands and the like. And sometimes I would notice rolling shutter artifacts when I'm shooting photos or when I'm shooting video. Semi-stacking the sensor means that it's going to be a faster readout. The nice part about that is that it didn't sacrifice dynamic range, which generally would happen when you have stacked or semi-stacked sensors. When like generally there's this weird kind of like give and take between sensor readout and dynamic range. So they were able to kind of address both of them at the same time. The burst rates, I think, were a little bit more limited on the A7 IV. I will say the screen is a much better quality on the A7V versus the 4. I even took the thumbnail from for this video, this live stream. I took the thumbnail on the A7 IV of the A7V, and when I go to edit the photo, looks great. I can do push and pull, whatever. You have 33 megapixels, great. When I looked at it on the screen, I'm like, why does this look like crap? Like, it didn't look good. So I think there was like a little bit of an upgrade there. Obviously, there's a screen upgrade as well. And then also some of the crop modes in the 4K 60 and also having 4K 120 frames with the Super 35. Those are things that all improve on the A7 IV. I guess what happened in that period of time, though, is between the A7 IV and the A7V, all the other camera companies also did that, but then also added things on top and then made it close to the same price. I think people are trying to like divorce features from the price point, and that's where the argument gets muddled because yes, do you need all of the other extra stuff? Maybe not. But if I'm going to spend $3,000 and you're just not going to give it to me just cuz, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit frustrated with that. Hello, folks. Do you think Blackmagic will make a new video assist? I really hope they do. Those other ones are real chunky. Uncle Kofi, are you hiring? No. I make enough money for a one-man man operation, my friend. I don't have employees. I do have freelancers that come out and help, but yeah, no. I'm not, unfortunately. From what I hear so far, it depends on your needs. It has pre-capture, faster readout because it's parsec sensor, less rolling shutter because of the new processing sensor. I think also another misconception with the pre-capture is that it's the only one that does. The S12 and the R6 Mark III, and I think the Z6 III also has pre-capture as well. Just not even that's not an argumentative thing. I think there was like a weird thing where I think people assume that it was just the A75 that has pre-capture, but all like that's where the kind of the part of the other cameras are getting featured that adding the other ones is that some of them have those too. Buongiorno. Oh, did I get that right? Jesus, did I pronounce that right? Did I say buongiorno right? Because if I did, I'll take that. Do you think Sony can realize OpenGate is a firmware update? No, I don't think so. I think you have to make a new codec. You'd have to send letters of apology to anybody that has a Venice that purchased that update for $5,000. Anyone? I think the Burano has it. I heard someone said the Burano has it too. I didn't know that. I think if you did that, you would have to somehow address a consumer market that's going to be really, really mad about the fact that you did. Because here's what's going to end up happening if you do that. If the Sony A75 gets an OpenGate upgrade, what's going to end up happening is that FX3 owners, FX6 owners, FX9 owners, FS7 owners, Burano owners, Venice owners are all going to be like, Sony, what the hell? And if Sony kind of goes with the whole thing of like, well, we can't do it on yours, they're going to be a little bit mad about that. And I think what's happening now in like the kind of not prosumer, but like just the not $60,000 cinema camera market. If I'm able to find that in something else, and if I'm going to find it in something else that's cheaper, I might take that option. I don't think they want to risk that, especially with like in the higher end and middle production, like budgets are not what they used to be. And there's a lot of things going on that unfortunately a lot of professionals don't want to talk about in terms of where money's going. I don't think Sony could afford to do that at this junction in time. I think if production was way more active, I think they could pull that off. But again, this is just my own headcanon. I don't take this as a fact. This is me guessing. I think it's more towards photographer than videographers, in my opinion. Alessio, so I agree with you. I think it's a little bit more photocentric. I think the hard part with that is that in terms of when you line up all the video specs and then all the photo specs and you put them beside each other, the sacrifices that you need for the extra video spec on the A75 make a little bit less sense when you compare it to the video features that you have to give up to get that. For example, if pre-capture is the argument, the A75 has 1 second of pre-capture. The S12 with all of its video features has 1.5 seconds of pre-capture. The 14-bit RAW at 30 frames a second is also offered on the S12, and I think the S1R2, which I'm shooting on now, so I could check for you, but it also has a burst rate that's high with 14-bit RAWs in it. I think the only feature that I can comfortably say is a difference that's going to affect more people than not is like the flash sync consistency. But outside of that, am I willing to give up all of those things for flash sync at the same price point? And I think that's where people have points of contention. I'm aware of what's been announced, but was giving a suggestion for something to focus on the review, but thanks. Okay, cool. But yeah, no, so those are things that I'm going to test out because I have I literally have the A7 IV and I have the A7V. So I'm going to do a little bit of that today. Leo said the OG word. Yeah, don't say open gate here. It's apparently it's a swear word. I'm a BTS portrait shooter, and I'm currently using the A7 III. Should I upgrade to the A7V? If there are specific things that you need to upgrade from the A7 III that you don't like, most of them are probably going to be addressed on the A7V. So, yeah, that's a fair. I think that's not more than a reasonable choice to make. I wouldn't tell you to switch systems. Love Blackmagic menus. I haven't tried the Pixis, but I love the Ursa and the Pocket 4K. I love my Pixis and my Ursa. I'm gonna probably rent my Ursa out to productions a little bit more because I only have two hands. So, to be fair, I also speak without an accent. Did they grow up there? I thought it might work somehow. My parents did grow up there. My dad moved when he was a teenager. My mom moved when she was like a little younger. But they all speak like my parents speak Tree and didn't teach me. So like I have to go and be around people that speak Tree for like a month, and then I can do okay. But like day to day, I like the Ghanaian word of the day is completely contingent on how long I've been practicing for, and I haven't been, which is why you don't see them as often. Watching on a delay, but big love from Nova Scotia. Hey, respects, bro. Another Canadian. Hey, Mac Chodri with a super chat for no reason at $49.99. Respects, brother. Thank you so much. This man, Mac, I hope you're writing off these super chats. Honest to God, because you've been set like this man sends me a super chat every single time I do a live stream. So shout out to you. For video recording at 60 frames a second, is recording maximum resolution? Is it recording at maximum resolution, or is there some form of line skipping or other? That's a hard thing to confirm, I think, but. From what I understand, it is downsampled at 4K 60. You do have to turn off that field of view priority thing, which I'm going to test if there's a difference in noise performance there, because that's also just a weird caveat to put in, and it's also off by default, which is kind of confusing. But hang on a second. In terms of like camera settings that are off by defaults, Nikon ZR has this like selfie mode that's turned on by default, and it's really annoying. And if you don't know, sorry, there's like my mustache hairs are growing into my nose. If you don't know that, then it's confusing and it's annoying. Yeah, are DP's camera ops encouraged to buy new equipment for tax write-offs every few years? US has a bizarre taxing where accountants might advise people to depreciate and repurchase. Sort of. Then again, I don't live in the USA, so I live in Canada. So I don't think I was encouraged to, but I do, like, from a business standpoint, yeah, the more money you spend on the tools to do your business, the less you pay at the end of the year. Mistake that I've had, though, is I took that so much to heart and bought so much stuff where the amount of money I was going to spend was going to go somewhere anyways. Like it was either going to get paid to the government or I was going to write it off, but I was still spending the money regardless. So there's a fine line there, but that's not financial advice. I would talk to your accountant about that. Fixing the overheating was enough in itself. In my personal opinion, for the price tag, But again, if you have an A7 IV, then you're fine. Cam, you're 35. Cam, behave yourself. Hey, yeah, everyone knows Mac Chodri. Mac Chodri, like the rich uncle of the YouTube community, bro. C50 or FX3? Why are all of you asking C50 or FX3? Gee, you know what? Because y'all did that, I'm not answering. I'm not answering now. Slow down. The best lesson from this release would be if people realize they don't need to upgrade their camera every generation. Yeah, fair enough. I think another thing is that like the rest of the world exists outside of people that only need what Sony has to offer. Again, I don't think it's a bad camera, but for me to tell you that it's the best value for your money, that would be a lie. But again, that doesn't mean it's a bad camera. You could be the 5th place team in the NFL and still have some of the best athletes in the world. The Patriots still lost games and still won Super Bowls. Can you do your best Toronto man accent? No, I don't know how. So the idea for the Toronto man accent is completely misconstrued because it's not Toronto that accent came from. It's a city called Brampton that's about an hour away. And then people from Brampton started working full-time jobs and then moved to Toronto. But that accent is entirely from Brampton. I went to high school in Brampton. Toronto people did not say that until Brampton people started going there to go and party. Only thing I think would be good for the review, maybe a low light test. I'm not sure what else. Low light is absolutely going to be there because sunset's at like 4 o'clock in Ontario right now. So my shoot that I have is from 2:30 to 4:30. I need support. What is happening? Man, I mentioned going to Ghana and I already got someone trying to 419 me. This is crazy. Um, but yeah, no. What the? Yeah, that's wild. Sorry, completely distracted. Low light's definitely going to be one of the things that are on there, and I'm going to try to test it in a couple of different ways. I don't like shooting in pitch darkness and expecting a low light test to come up anywhere with any sort of result. So I definitely will have like some form of ambient light. But yeah, I'll definitely try that. If you want open gate, buy an iPhone. I mean, you could, but then like I don't want to get a phone call or a dirty picture from Cam Mackey every time I try to record a clip. What's your view on camera release of the year? Depends by what metrics. If you want value for your money, and assuming you have no camera, and also a price point. Assuming you have no camera, and especially, I guess we're gonna talk about this price point. It is the Lumix S1 II. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. That would be untruthful. Now, is that to say that everyone should buy S1 IIs? No, but in terms of what the offering is for the amount of money that they're asking for, it's very hard to make that argument to the opposite. I have the C50 FX3. I like the C50 image better, but Sony is better in low light. Yeah, which like makes sense. I'm not gonna jump up and disagree. I will say for me personally, like I don't really shoot in pitch darkness, so like the low light's not that huge of a deal, in my personal opinion. But if it's even if it's 10% better, if you're in a situation where you need to shoot it, I'm not gonna tell you otherwise. Can't lens makers make sideways anamorphic lens to allow desqueezable open gate? I think you would need a gigantic consumer push for that to even make that kind of a conversation. I think that's the hard part. Like a lot of these things we're talking about are like on the fringes of stuff. Like most people aren't. If as many people that bought regular lenses bought anamorphic lenses, then like you'd never see Blaze RB in stock again, and it's already not in stock most of the time as is. Yeah, the whole open gate thing, I don't necessarily think it just comes from. And it's weird that we're calling people entitled that they have contentions for spending $3,000. I think that's kind of an out of touch thing to say. Um, and that's coming from somebody who gets cameras for free every now and again. Um, to call somebody entitled for wanting open gate out of a camera they only want to pay for once every 4 years, I think is kind of outside of reasonability. But also, yeah, the reason why people are upset is kind of halfway. Yes, they want those features that are in other cameras, but the idea is that when the conversation comes up about them, when it's told, well, you don't need that stuff, or some sort of excuse for not doing it, and then wanting to have a round of applause for it, you're gonna piss people off. And then to follow that up with invalidating people's feelings about those things when it's their money, weird. Hey, can you test both camera IBIS with the native lenses and third-party lenses? Also, normal IBIS versus digital stab. Hard part, I only have one third-party lens, and it's one that I'm borrowing. I will make a note of that, though, and try that tomorrow. I don't have Sigma lenses. What? Every damn release, it's the same damn fucking. Okay. Please test Dave with Sony and Sigma lenses in normal and active mode. They usually lie. Is there that it's gimbal like? Nothing's gonna replace a gimbal. I think when they say it's gimbal like, it just means the stabilization is good. Isaac, I only have the 10mm. Ooh, Mac with the bars. I don't write off donations or gifts at all because if you're trying to help someone, you shouldn't expect anything in return. So Mac's just saying he's out here doing God's work, which, hey, I'll take that, bro. I will take that. Very generous. Yeah, Mac is the most generous man on YouTube, honestly. And also, peer pressure Mac into making his own channel. So I could start sending them super chats back. Hey, can you test both cameras, IBIS, Lumix versus Sony? I forgot to say Lumix with native lenses and third-party lenses. Also normal IBIS versus digital save. I don't have Lumix third-party autofocus lenses. So I can do that with their native lenses. I only have the two lenses I have that are matchable are the 24-70 Mark II and the 24-60. So I could do it that way. The third party one's kind of tough because I don't have enough time to pick up those lenses from Sigma. Fun fact: Sigma's based, like, there's a Sigma office based in Toronto. Um, but I don't have access to every single possible lens. I only have access to their native stuff. Has anyone confirmed if the 4K might fit the A75? I could tell you by looking at these guys, and I don't think so. No, it won't. I don't think it will. Actually, 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 no, it won't. I don't think it will. Let me get back to you on that one. There's like a 5% chance, but the 7.5 is like a little bit shaped different, but it might. It just might. Yay! God, why did you make me do that? Why did you make me do that? You made me do that, Caden. That was not nice. Rhett, what's going on, boss? You're not late. You're like, I've been on for like 25 minutes. It's barely late. In 10 minutes, I spent trying to get the stream up. Man, I'm loving the Vespa 2 on the Sony FX3A and C50. Thanks for the recommendation. It's my new favorite cinema lens set. Ooh, let's go. Let's go. I like the Vespa 2s. I like them a lot. I do like my Nisi Aureus lenses, and I have a video about those tomorrow. Not a spec video, just like, honestly, it was more of a therapeutic video for myself, but I just wanted to show more footage because I didn't as much in the first video. Fuck it, I'll do it one time. You really cheese me, dog. Bad man things. There, I did it. Well, I didn't know you were a Brampton man. Yeah, I went to Augustine for like 3 years. No, 2.5. I moved to Brampton for like 2.5 years, and then I born and raised Mississauga. Then I moved to Guelph. Then I moved to Toronto. I'm gonna just say the Sony A7IV is the best camera of the century. Cameron, you're about to have some of those people from the video you just posted come back in this comment section coming after you. You better behave yourself, bro. Toronto GTA is so multicultural, they're full of accents. Yeah, so fun fact, if you guys ever go to what used to be called Yonge and Dundas Square, it's called Sankofa Square. And Sankofa Square is a Ghanaian word, which was hilarious because when it happened and they had the whole celebration, my whole family was like, there's no Ghanaians downtown Toronto. So why did they call it Sankofa Square? Which was confusing because I don't know, like, kind of like camera features, nobody asked. And they called it that. So we'll take a W where we want to take one, but it was really weird when they did it. Noise levels at base ISO. Gonna be pretty clean, but let's again. So I have a checklist of things I'm gonna try out that I'm gonna do this afternoon. I got about a 2-hour thing. I'm gonna do a photo shoot. I'm gonna bring all of my cameras, my S12, the ZR, the A74, and the A75 are all going to be in the bag, and I'm just going to shoot every single one of them, and I'm just going to shoot off my checklist, and then I scheduled 5 or 6 shoots for the week, and then I'm going to keep going from there. But yeah. Show us the big hands next to the camera. You guys are diabolical. I hate when you guys do this. I'll show you what it looks like, and I just want to point out that, yeah, so this is... I could palm it. It looks like someone said it looked like a fidget spinner in my hand, and I got so mad. And the one guy got mad at me, and he's like, "How disrespectful can you put your big hands on a little tiny camera?" And then I realized how large my hands are in comparison to the A75. It looks like it's a baby toy. The A75 looks like a Fuji XM5 in my hands. Gonna buy an iPhone, LOL. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to use exclusively front-facing screen? Isn't that whoa? Buy this is an open gate conversation. Makes sense. Hey, let's go. I hope you're having a good week. Time to get those likes, boys and girls. Yeah, there's 84 of you and 17 likes. Don't be a trash can. Smash the like button. Is Sony stabilization even halfway decent yet? Honestly, I see shaky footage with a tripod on the cameras. You know what? Up until when no one points it out, and I've had Sony cameras for years. Like I have 600 videos on this channel. Over 400 of them are still Sony videos. I've never noticed Sony's IBIS, but also I shot on the FX6 most of the time, so it never had IBIS. But I've not had a giant problem. Will we get GTA 6 before Sony puts out OpenGate? Yes. Unless they have like really good apology letters to everyone that purchased the OpenGate license on their higher end cameras, I don't think they're going to implement it, because you would have to really figure out who you like. You have to talk. You'd have to have a really interesting conversation with your customer base and explain why it's $5,000 to do it, 5,000 Canadian. Why it's a paid upgrade on a larger camera that costs more money. Excuse me, versus a mirrorless camera. And I don't think the social media angle and like the reframing for social media thing, I don't think it's gonna fly. Or you make that upgrade free, or you just completely just say, hey, you know what, we're gonna make it for free, because I don't know how many people are buying Venice 2s anyways. Ooh, shout out to the Tema Motorway. You guys know about that. No, I asked yesterday. They said no. I can't bring the A75 to Ghana. In fact, I'm going to do another live stream where I'm going to let you guys pick out of the cameras that I may have access to, except for one of them, which is going to Ghana. The GFX 102 more than likely is going to go. I asked Fuji because one of the things, this will be a separate video. Don't talk about it that much, to be honest with you. But one of the things I want to do in Ghana is take photos and make content in Africa without going to a village or taking photos of zoo animals, because that's what everybody does. And then everybody continues to think that Ghana is just the Lion King or a World Vision commercial. How does the A75's color science hold up across mixed lighting compared to the FX line cameras once you're deep into grading or just out of camera? Hey, just so you know, I will do these tests, but y'all better send some super thanks for something, bro. Like these are extensive ass tests that y'all are looking for. But yeah, I could try that out. I think it's actually pretty decent, to be honest with you. I think the biggest thing OpenGate is represents innovation or lack thereof, especially when other companies are doing it. Yes, I completely agree with that. And I challenge Sony to look at the commentary that is happening, and instead of defaulting to we give you what you need, not what you want, maybe just consider that that's what people are asking for. Because you want to know a company that didn't do that and ended up losing a lot of customers? Canon. This is the same stuff Canon did. Every time a camera brand kind of and it is a little bit anti-consumer to say to make a comment like that. And every time it happens, people will leave, because when you tell people who you are, they'll believe you, and then they'll go somewhere else. A quick question for you. I'm in real estate media and I have a photographer and and I have a photographer and I want to know if I should just buy the A75 or continue to use the two cameras currently, A74 and ZV-E1. For real estate, I don't know if there's a particular feature that will change your life. Because in real estate, if you're doing a home tour, I feel like the rolling shutter is not that big of an issue. That I don't shoot real estate. I'm going to preface this. I don't shoot real estate. I could be talking out of my cornhole. I don't know if the features of the A75 will change your life in terms of real estate. At the same time, and it was an intrusive thought, and I'm just going to say it. Depending if your real estate agent you're working with needs social media content, well, you know where I'm going to go with that. So, but yeah, I don't think unless you shoot 4K 60 quite a bit, that would be useful. In terms of the photo stuff, I don't think you're shooting 14-bit raw burst photos in a real estate environment because nothing's moving. Or you can stay with where you are. Blazer put out a video for vertical anamorphic vertiscope. It seems like one of the best workarounds for someone who needs to deliver both orientations. I think the hardest part about that, though, is that if I still want autofocus, you might not have that unless you're using the Blazer Apex line. What is a good technique when you're leveraging manual focus lenses using the focus pulling by hand? I don't always want to leverage the DJI focus because of the setup time. Any technique you recommend? So usually if I have I already packed it away. If you have a manual focus lens, typically what I'll do is, like, generally speaking, if you have a manual focus lens, you're in environments where you know what your scene is. I will usually put like my ring finger on like the end point and then my thumb on the point that it is. And then I just switch between the 2 points. So like if I got to go from say 1.5 feet to like 10 feet away, my thumb and my ring finger on either one of those two, and I know at the end of the day I have to end up at 10 feet and I have to come back to 1 foot. That's something that you could use. And I do that quite a bit. Yeah, I need to talk the Ghanaian word of I need to talk about the Ghanaian word of the day. My mom would not speak English with me, so I had to learn it by force, by fire. Her reason was I'd learn English in school anyways. See, I wish my parents adopted that mentality. And I think when we were kids, we wanted nothing to do with Ghana. When I was a kid, my parents said, "Oh, go and make your money here and go back to Ghana." I said, "You are out of your goddamn mind, Mom." I didn't say it in those words because I would die, but I said that. And then now that I'm going in my 30s, I'm like, I don't even like Canada that much. That to live here till I'm like 100? Nah. Let me spend a couple months in Accra where there's no snow. But yeah, no, I gotta learn Chi really fast. I think the difference on Sigma versus Sony lenses is going to be the autofocus and just a tad of micro jitters. Yeah, I think so too. I had a 24-70 Sigma version 1 lens for like 4 years. What did I do? You don't need open gate is like saying you don't need 30 frames a second for photography. It's like saying you don't need full frame 60 frames a second. Just because you don't need it doesn't mean I don't need it. Yeah. For people that are shooting in 14-bit 30 frames a second burst modes, if you're shooting on the sports sidelines, you probably don't even have time to process all of that information, because if you're working for a media team for a particular sport, you got to get those photos up pretty freaking quickly. Also, I feel like the arguments are kind of all cyclical, and I think, again, I thought about this on the drive home. I don't even think we're arguing open gate anymore. I don't even think we're trying to fight to validate our purchases. I think we've kind of like moved past this. Now we're just trying to fight to validate our feelings, because people don't even argue the points anymore. They start talking about the person specifically. And that's where you lose the entire friggin' plot, when you just argue to argue the person and making personal attacks. And that's what I said before in the video that I made, is critiquing cameras in multi-billion-dollar industries is totally fine. When you attach that to a personal slight at somebody, but then when called out on it, pretend that you never said it, that's where you're going to lose people. And that's where people are going to get mad, and they're going to continue fighting and yelling at each other about cameras of all things. Please, at least with native lenses. So many try dynamic stabilization, but forget to test normal IBIS with ninja walking. I've done that. I've tried active stab. I don't like it, like, at all. I just use normal. I won't use the dynamic on it, because like when you do the pan thing, it's a weird artifact. Your accents are on point. I mean, actual Ghanaians are like, Kofi, that's not good. you have to do better. I have a question about the dual USB. Can you record to an external SSD like Blackmagic? No, that's not an option. I tried looking in the menus to even see if you can do it. It doesn't work. 240 frames per second. I will point this out. I've never used 240 FPS in my whole life, which also explains why I've never been able to find it in the camera, but I've never actually used it. I'll give it a shot though. Kofi asked me anything. Do you like spaghetti? Depends on the pasta. Nope. It's like actual spaghetti noodles? No, not really. Not my favorite. Not my top tier. Not my top 5. Jesus Christ, you could palm the FX6, no problem. Bro, I did. That's why you usually see me using bigger camera rigs, is because I'm a larger person. I'm just shy of 6'2", and I'm about 300 pounds. And I play football since I was 11 years old. So I'm a big person. So having little tiny cameras sometimes is rough, which sucks because I like them, because I have an S9 and I have a Fuji X100VI. I like using them, but I also have to buy giant grips for them, or I can't handhold them. Someone has a hand fetish and thinks this is Kofi's OF channel. Hey, if you're paying for it, I'm just saying, we about to hit a recessi. $20 is $20. You want to see me palm cameras? I'll do it all day. The small rig rhinoceros cage fit perfect. Okay. Dope. Test 16 stops near Alexa level dynamic range. Yeah, that only exists in photo. I think when you do it in video, it's like 12.5 or something like that, which is like kind of the same as everybody. Past 12. Another weird thing is, like, with dynamic range and stuff, for most people, and I'm talking like every camera outside of like the Ursa 12K and the Alexa 35, the Alexa 35 has so much dynamic range, it's not even fair. Like I've looked at the false color out of the Alexa 35 and like a window that's totally blown out. And I've watched and I put it beside the Alexa Mini LF, and you cannot blow out that camera particularly. But that's also behind a $100,000 paywall. The Pixis or the Ursa 12K is just under that. But for most people, like 12 to 12 and a half, 12.8, between 12.5 and 12.8 or 12.2 and 12.5, you're not going to know the difference. You're not going to see the difference in real life. Reason being is because most of us have encouraged proper exposure. And if you're exposed properly, the fringes of dynamic range, I'll still do the test because you'll ask me for it. But the fringes of dynamic range in the 0.2 or 0.1, it's not going to change a lot. It's not going to. It might be good to test it out against a Panasonic stabilization just for other people. Seriously, I watched someone's review on the FX30, which I know is a little older in stabilization. On or off active, it barely made a difference. Yeah. I actually will do that. So again, my checklist is I'm going to do all that. I vote Pentax or the Ghana trip. If I had a Pentax camera, but I've actually never seen a Pentax camera in real life. I have no idea what they look like. That's a lie. I know what they look like. I've never seen what they look like in real life, though. S1 too. Duh. Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. I'm trying to think of a football team. The Philadelphia Eagles aren't a bad football team because I don't win the Super Bowl. Someone has to win. Just because it's not you doesn't mean you're bad. If IBIS take FX3, I don't think the IBIS is that great. It's usable, but it's not great. They said dynamic range to pass medium format cameras and photos. Yeah, but like, I think we're going into another thing where like, how much dynamic range do you need? Hang on 1 second. I actually have to send this very important email because I totally forgot. Hang on 1 second, guys. In the midst of doing these YouTube videos, somebody has to pay my bills. So I totally forgot that I completed a video for a sponsor that is coming out tomorrow. And I, like an idiot, did not at all do what I was supposed to do, which is send the link that I needed to. So there you go. I sent it. We're good. I can still afford to live. Even rolling shutter exists on paper. Do you feel it while shooting handheld or panning, or does it change how you shoot? Not unless it's like really, really bad. I feel like the A7IV, I kind of moved away from shooting video, especially handheld on it when I owned it. Because I used to own the FX3, the FX6, and the A7IV. That was my my kit when I was doing a lot of work. So yeah, I feel like if it's super slow and you're shooting a lot of handheld, you'll see it. It might not get you every time, but when you see it, you're like, oh, I don't like that at all. But in a lot of situations, I don't think people are going to be upset about it, especially if you're not shooting high action or anything like that. Maybe. Mr. Chaudhry, the other Chaudhry, what's going on, boss? Hello, bro. What about frame wobble with wide angle? Does it depend on when you're using a prime or a zoom lens? I think it depends on your focal length. Which I'm going to try a super, super wide angle lens like tomorrow. So I'll be at Viva and I'm going to try IBIS on a 10 millimeter lens, 35 and a 50. L'Occitane, I don't know that to be true. We've made the hard part about the FX3 Mark II, and which I kind of feel bad about, is that I feel like the expectation curve has grown so high over this camera that doesn't exist, and there's no inkling of it existing. And there truly isn't. As someone who talks to Sony quite often, there's no inkling of when this camera is going to come out or whether or not it even kind of exists or even like in the final stages of development. I think we've prophesized the Sony FX3 II as this chosen one camera, and I would say I would just reserve judgment until it comes out, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they're going to change a whole lot. I don't know if they're going to change a little, to be honest with you. Are we also speaking French in Ghana? For those of you that are not in Ashanti-land, I think most people in Ashanti-land are English, but also I know that French being right beside Côte d'Ivoire, people do speak French. But If you're okay with Québécois French, and je parle un petit peu, but I don't generally speak French all the time. Extended family. Oh yeah. So spoiler alert: me and Brandon Talbot may have a little podcast coming up in 2026, and it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be basically uncensored, but like uncensored if our parents watched it, which is actually kind of very censored. Oh, hang on a second. I might have made a mistake. Wow. Okay. So I have my video that's going to go up tomorrow. I have an A6700 looking into upgrade to full frame next year. If the A7S4 FX3 Mark II doesn't come with OpenGate next year, I will go to Canon and invest into their ecosystem. Hey, vote with your dollar, bro. Vote with your dollar, especially when you need it. If you need it, I don't care who the hell you are. If you need a feature and someone tells you if you want that feature, go somewhere else. Like I said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Hey, we got our first dislike. Let's go. Round of applause. Show us real-world examples of how OpenGate improves simultaneous 16:9 and 9:16 framing. If show it improves anamorphic shooting. David, I've not seen you. I think you made a comment a little bit earlier. So I'm gonna do that. Yes. If you want to see it before the video comes out, there are a couple of videos that you can watch now, and I'll be able to explain. One is going to be the ZR versus the C50, the S12 C50, no S1, yeah S12 C50, as well as I have a video completely on OpenGate and why everybody is clamoring for it. I made that about a couple months ago, and I think all of the Lumix launch videos, I did the same thing, showing about the 16:9 and 9:16 and the anamorphic. And I literally like mapped out where you lose a resolution on either one of those two. The hard part is that it's not necessarily, yes, to some extent, it's maintaining the quality when you zoom in. But also, I just want the ability to be able to move things up and down, because also that 7.5% on either side, because that's what OpenGate gets you, right? It's 15% total, but it's like if you frame it the same as 16:9, it's like 7.5 at the top and 7.5 at the bottom. Now, that doesn't sound significant until you keep an account that even when you, like, if you go and look at an Instagram reel right now or a TikTok or YouTube short, there's like writing and stuff at the bottom and there's writing and stuff at the top. So if I'm able to have that extra space on the top and the bottom, then I'll be able to have that extra real estate that I could still frame the way I want to by keeping my grid lines intact, and still be able to like not have things get cut off and writing on the top or like the description and all the other stuff on the bottom. You're still able to frame for that. And I think that's something that, yeah, everything's going to get compressed and cooked in post when you post on the social media platforms, but I'd rather have that resolution than not have it at all. Especially, again, when we're talking about cameras holistically, because features don't exist in a vacuum, it's around the same price. Nice technique. I'll give it a shot. Pun intended. Hey, let's go. Mac, you got to come to like an NAB or something like that, so we all can pay you back. Hey, bro, I have a Komodo X. Is that the best quality out there? You bought the Komodo X. Don't you know that? How am I going to tell you that? I don't know. When you look at it, what do you say? What do you see? Because here's the thing. I want to get out of the game of telling you what you're looking at while you're looking at it. So if you like how the Komodo X looks, hey, bro, you money well spent. If you like it, again, I'm partial to my Pixis 12K. There, I said it. It would be interesting to see an H.265 creative grade footage comparison between the A75 and the S12. Drumroll, the FX3, same lens. I would need an FX3 to do that. I could do a 7.5. I don't like the H.265. I use all Intra on my Sony cameras, and I have for a long time, but I could do it. Why didn't you review the Kodak camera? Is there a Kodak camera? Is there a Kodak camera I'm missing? It's because I didn't know it existed. That's what. Do you have a vertical grip for the A7 IV? How well does it fit? No, I don't, unfortunately. Yes, Sony Active is unusable. It jumps all over. Yeah, I had problems with it. I even tried on the FX2. I had a problem with the FX2 with that, and I genuinely didn't like it. When I tried the active, so Lumix has like an active E cropless stabilization because of the way that they make their sensor. When you do the stabilization thing and it kind of like counteracts it, it's a lot easier. But yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like the active state, to be honest with you. Hey, Video Brothers, OpenGate is huge, nice stuff. Think about it. Canon C50 doesn't have IBIS, but you can use the gimbal, but have nice open gate. Yeah, or you could have stabilized lenses, which I kind of prefer the stabilized lenses with no digital IBIS than having digital IBIS and destabilization, particularly with Canon. But yeah, Kobe's a good 11 inches taller than Terry Warfield. I don't know. He got that big cranium, bro. He got a big ass head. Also, so do I. My forehead goes to the back. My forehead goes to my neck, so I can't say anything. Can you test if it records ProRes RAW through HDMI like the Atomos Ninja 5 monitor? I tried. It does not have. So when you open up the menus, the way that you're able to tell that is when you open it up. And let me just I'll go through the menu right now. If you go to the yellow menu, you should be able to go to like HDMI, external output settings. It doesn't give you the option of RAW on the output settings. Info display, control for HDMI, setup option. Yeah, it doesn't give you the option for HDMI resolution, output settings, output resolution. On the FX3, it would give you the option if you want to shoot in RAW. It's not on here when you do it. So I can't compare RAW to RAW because the A75 doesn't even allow it. So why isn't the stream in OpenGate unsubscribing? I don't know if you can. If you could, yeah. Terry's a strong 5'9". Damn. Why did Terry catch strays? What happened here? A75 is hot garbage. Just kidding. But it seems this phrase triggers influencers so much that they have to make videos defending its poor video specs. One thing I will generally say is my A75 video is I'm not going to start swearing at people. I'm not going to start calling in names. I'm also not going to mention the other names of other creators, but I will say that it was very, very weird to watch as somebody who knows these people. It was a weird thing to watch. That's the only way I could explain that. I never want to give flowers or a standing ovation to a camera company for not doing something. And also, I don't think it's fair to invalidate the needs of other people because, hang on, keep it a buck. When we all had Sony cameras and Sam Newton made that Nikon diss track, we all laughed and called Nikon potatoes for a long time. But now when we make it to the butt of a joke, we can't suddenly start punching people in the face and say, I don't want any trouble after. There's a streamer that does that. He goes through like malls and he like butts up on people, and then when they turn around to give him his just due, he has like a bodyguard in the back that kind of stops him from doing that. I think people are kind of doing that with Sony a little bit, which I don't think is fair. You're welcome to have your opinion. You're welcome to feel the way you want to feel, but in those feelings and in some of those things you say, you have to acknowledge that when you go looking for a certain level of attention, sometimes you get it. Lee with the heater. For your line of work, is the A7V efficient? Not really. If I'm gonna be reasonable with you, not entirely. There's other cameras for the same price point that I think, for me personally, I would make more use from. Show us real world S2 simultaneous 16. Yeah, I could do that. But like, so David, I've done that already on other cameras. So if you want to know the difference between 16:9 sensor, that already exists. Also, when people say, okay, I have a genuine question. What do we mean by real world? I mean, like outside of my desk, sure. But there isn't a fake world that I can go to. And if there is, does it have any money? That's also a joke. But I always get confused when people say that. Kobe said OpenGate is overrated. Lee Kobe said OpenGate is overrated. He prefers 64 by 1 by 1. I prefer 69 by 1 by 1. Oh, wait a minute. Did I read something wrong here? Was I supposed to get something? Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm at the same time adhering to my responsibilities as a creator and somebody in production at the same time as I'm making this video. And I also have a second training session today because your boy's back is trying to get smaller. Do you still use the Red Komodo X? No. Sold it a long time ago. On any of your productions? No. I rent them, which I've only really done like twice since I sold my camera. If so, are there any good audio solutions that you would recommend for it? You got to get that like Limo to XLR, and then you got to somehow attach it to the cage of a Komodo X, which was one of like, it's not a hard thing to do. And as far as red accessories go, it's not the worst thing to do. The hard part with that is that if that Limo cable breaks, it's like $100. It's insane. So, Yeah, that's the only way you can do it. The only way you're able to do it is you got to get a Limo to an XLR module. I made a rig video about that. That's the only way I've known how to do it. It's just that I don't like that particular reason when you could just have XLR handles or 3.5 jacks on the camera. Man, take a C50 to Ghana and capture all the metal in its right way. Facts. Shaquille. So there is one thing. I talked to I don't know if you guys know Flowshop, Phlosshop. So he's a Ghanaian creator, Ghanaian cinematographer, Ghanaian photographer as well. And one of the things I'm going to say, and I'm going to give Canon a lot of respect for this, is that they're the only camera manufacturer that has a native division for Africa, that like actively has Africans as a part of it, versus sending Americans to Africa to take pictures of village kids and zoo animals. I noticed that a little bit a while ago, and I wanted to actually go to the retail stores and actually go talk to Canon Africa about this. And I don't even mean this for myself. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem nor heads or tails. And if you guys want to go on a safari, whatever, go for it. But I think sometimes the perception of the continent in general is only those two things a lot of the time. And camera companies will send creators to go get their marketing over there, but then not employ creators that are native to the country that they send them to, which I have a problem with. So yes, I would love to take a Canon C50 there if they'll let me borrow one. But also, I will say I will give respect to Canon, because at the least when they do things in that country, they actually have creators that are actually from there. And they will have those conversations with retailers in order to make sure that we all don't. It's the same thing with like, we will see, and that's and the part that gets on my nerves is that like we'll see Japan and Norway and all the other stuff. And I've been to those places. The thing that is annoying though is that whenever someone's like, I went to Africa, and I'm like, cool. Why does that kid not have shoes? They have shoes there. Stop it. So there's that. The camera Luther Stickle. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Luther Stickle is. How did you land your first client as a freelancer? Truthfully, I asked. I'm not gonna lie. I spent it like so, and I probably should do a lot more with Skillshare, but I spent 73 hours on Skillshare in 2019 when it first got released in terms of like how to learn how to shoot, because I didn't know anything. And I did like one spec video fitness thing, like a fitness promo video back at that time. And that person was sponsored by that supplement company. And the supplement company liked it enough that they paid me to start making videos for them. That's how I got my first client. And then I just like, I knew business and competition very well. So I would market those videos to other supplement companies that they competed with. And if anybody wanted exclusivity, they'd have to pay more money for it, but none of them wanted to do that. So I just started working with a bunch of companies, and that's how it worked. 65 by 24, absolutely correct. I will shoot X-Pan till the day I die. Can you explain to a non-Sony user why there are so many versions of S-Log? The reason why is because when you have your technology that's able to accommodate for things like higher dynamic range or wider color spaces, you make another log curve in order to accommodate for that. Now, Vlog didn't necessarily have that problem. Neither did Canalog. Has the same thing, where as their technology advances, sometimes the codecs or the log curves they have in there only were made for previous technology. So when it comes out new and they realize that I can get more out of it, they have to make a new one. Panasonic might be due for one, to be honest with you. They might get a Vlog 2 at some point if they can buy sensors that adhere to being able to do that. I think one of the things is that they just made a really advanced Vlog to begin with. So people over tech preferences as if there's one right answer. Tools serve different workflows. What works for the person doesn't have to work for everyone. Yes. And that's what being critical of camera companies, I think, is more than fine. These are multi-billion-dollar companies, and they don't care. Keep it a stack. I gave you every single reason why the FX2 is not a good purchase, and Sony still invited me to Condo and still lets me work with them. There's more to that, but I can't explain that till February. But anyways, you can approach critical conversation in a professional way, and I think the way that it's been going is very unprofessional, and that's why people are yelling and screaming at each other. Do you think Sony will ever come out with a 6K in their FX line? Feel like 4K H.265 starting to get a little bit dated? Eventually. I wouldn't count on it being in 3x2. Can you test all intra versus all eye compression? Intra and all eye are the same thing. On previous Sony, the all eye usually comes with more macro blocking, less details, and more. All intra and all eye are the same thing, because all eye, the eye is intra. Mo drama for yo camera. Hello, what about the A7 4K 60 without noise reduction? I'm gonna try those. I was like, so Root, what you put in the community post was like the first note that I made, because that's also the first question that I have. My also question is, do people even know the difference between a 12-bit raw photo and a 14-bit raw photo? Do you think OpenGate will come before GTA 6 and an FX camera? Probably not. What monitor do you use for editing? It's the curved one, an LG curved one. Put that in Amazon. Just put LG curved one. It might actually show something. I don't know. For me, that sounds logical. It does. I just don't know. It doesn't exist. I don't like commenting on cameras that don't exist. Yeah, BT's out here. Hey, Super Chat, what's going on? Ask Kofi anything. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Why did you make me read that? You know what? It's 9.8 meters squared. Why doesn't it have OpenGate? I think we know why. Yeah, Talbot single-handedly has the best exposure video for the Nikon ZR on the platform. And if you haven't watched it, you might need a third eye. Which company's normal 100 megapixel H.265 log footage has the least big noise reduction? Rank them. I don't know. I'm gonna be real with you. If I buy a camera, I shoot at the maximum capacity that camera can do, and I just buy more cameras. Or sorry, I just buy more memory cards. I mean, technically, I bought more cameras. I don't know. It's not the Nikon ZR. If you're looking for me to put the Nikon ZR at the bottom, I could go ahead and do that. But I wouldn't say any of them. I wouldn't say any of them. I don't need that. Like, I just buy extra cards because I've been working professionally. Buying cards is like the easiest thing to write off, and it's a cost of doing business. So getting memory cards is not a gigantic detriment for me to do. We're going on 6 years since the A7S3, which is crazy. I'm curious to see if they will make that camera successor or just let it die out. I don't know. If you've played Kingdom Hearts, man, anything's possible. And for those of you that play Kingdom Hearts, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, nice. Considering subscribe, Signal Over Noise podcast. No, we're going to call it Extended Family. I think that'd be hilarious. Kobe, do you think 13.8 EV dynamic range for APS-C camera is good enough for regular travel photo and video? I just bought the ZV-E10 and Sigma. Yes, absolutely. Here's the thing. Exposure technique over dynamic range specs every single day. Why? Because the dynamic range numbers won't save you if you don't know what you're doing. It actually will maybe even make things worse. So yeah, I think you'll be fine. Watching while I walk the dogs, it's harder than you think, especially your dogs too, because your dogs are probably like, you guys don't know, Talbot's dogs are huge, and like if they're going in different directions and you're just a regular person, impossible. I have German Shepherds. I really like Brandon's dogs. They're very cute and they like to play all the time. ZV-E1 in 2026. If it hasn't gone down in price, I would prefer the Nikon Z. Actually, I still haven't done that video about the ZV-E1 and the ZR. I might do that. You know what? That might be a Ghana video. If they'll let me borrow it for longer. Although I did say I'd bring it back, but I didn't. If it's the same price as the Nikon ZR, and I can't in good faith say that because I could shoot in 4K on the ZR and adapt Sony lenses. But if it's cheaper, then that's a different story. Seriously, I don't get the point of arguing against having more features. As an A1 user, it's easier for me to not really drag this OpenGate conversation as I shoot 8K. Then don't drag the OpenGate conversation. I just personally, I just think that it's a weird thing that if a company doesn't have something that its competition does, and the people that ask you and they say, "Well, we don't feel like it," it's not a good answer. And like this whole OpenGate conversation completely divorces the idea that it's not a I can't do it. It's I don't want to, but I also want you to spend money at the same time. That's the true reason why people are frustrated in the things that are coming out. And I feel like when we bring that up, we completely skate over that part. But yeah, no, the reason why people are upset is mostly because it's not that they can't do it. It's because it's either protecting another line or they just don't feel like it. And then you have creators that are invalidating you or calling you names or cussing you out for bringing that up. OpenGate just makes commercial video way better by giving you the space or the 3x2 photo. Yeah, I only shoot my client stuff in 3x2, especially in the fitness space, because they'll shoot for 16:9 and like reframe it for their websites. And then random, like I had this job. This is a legitimate job that I had. I took it out of my Nisi Aureus video because it had nothing to do with the Nisi Aureus lenses. But I had a job at Blue Star where I think at one point they wanted to get into vertical content. They had like 1,000 YouTube videos, and in their mind, they're like, well, we have 1,000 long form videos. Why can't we make them short form? And I said, cool, say less. We could re-edit them for short form. I get this like 4 terabyte, or I think maybe more, maybe like 8 terabyte hard drive of every single video they've ever shot. They backed up every single video for 1,000 videos. And I had to make all of them vertical pieces of content with 16:9 footage. It was hell. It was so hell. I gave up the gig. I still work with them. I gave up that particular job because it was way too ridiculous to reframe all of that 16:9 that was shot as if it was native 16:9 for 9:16. I don't want to do to that volume. I never want to do that again. So yeah, shooting, and like, again, if the 3x2 doesn't cost me anything significant, why are we arguing against it? Why are we fighting about this? I don't understand. What am I losing having the, and I can understand the lens debate, but also some of those lenses that we're debating in favor of cost more than the camera itself. Again, I find that argument very strange. All intro works for me. Whatever is comparable to a non-RAW codec for test FS3. Sorry. Yeah, that's fair. I like interframe recording, but again, if I'm sending it away to somebody, or if the project is shorter, then I'll shoot in RAW. If it's a longer project, like an interview or something like that, if it only has RAW, like my Blackmagics, I'll just shoot it in 4K. But I've used DaVinci Resolve for so long that like grading RAW footage isn't that long of a process. Not too much longer or too much dissimilar than grading H.265. But I'll take the control if I have it. I'll take the extra if I have it. It doesn't cost me extra. I'm on a fence about the Nikon 28 to 35 PZ. Any thoughts? I liked it when I used it. I used it for a completely random project. My friend needed help shooting a choreographed dance thing, and that's where I used it. I liked it. It's not great in low light. It's f4, but like, I think it's cool. I think it was a cool lens. It's also massive though. It's a massive lens. So if you don't need big lenses, Canon has open gate that overheats after 20 minutes. Is it usable when I want to shoot all day? Open gate in the summer, maybe 30-40 clips for 10 minutes. Yeah, based on what I shot, it overheated in 18 minutes at 7K 60, but my battery died when I shot it in open gate RAW, which was about an hour. So, I mean, if you're outside in the crazy heat, here's the thing. Having open gate, having RAW doesn't mean you can't shoot in the other modes as well. And again, this is a misguided part of the conversation where we're cherry picking one feature and we're kind of ignoring the rest of them. If I want to shoot in RAW, I can make that choice. If I don't want to shoot in RAW, all of the same intra-frame shooting modes are available on all of the cameras and from their counterparts. The Fuji X-H2S still can shoot in 4K 16:9, as is the Pixis, honestly. The S1 II can do it, the S1R2 can do it, the Canon Z50 can do it, the Canon R6 III also has the same shooting modes as this guy. That's the point. The point is that the new capabilities in these competitively priced cameras don't take anything away from you. If that mode overheats, and also what Canon does uniquely is if a particular feature overheats, you can just change the mode and continue shooting. Where like on the S1 II, if it overheated, you can't use anything, or it tells you can't use anything. The nice part about that is that within 6 months, it did a firmware update to mitigate a significant portion of that. So yeah, it can overheat, but you could also use other modes. The whole point is consumers don't want choices taken away from them. Oh, we're talking about sound. Yeah, I agree. Canon stabilization lenses do work well for stabilization. For instance, 24 to 70L. Yes, I don't like E-Stab. Like on almost every camera. I don't like E-stabilization on like Sony. Don't like it on Nikon. Lumix is great for their cropless E-Stab, but everything else, no. Cam just made that same joke with Sony. Just jokes. Yeah, it's just jokes, bro. Why are you guys jumping in here making personal attacks? It's jokes, and they're not even jokes at you half the time. If you have $1,200 to $1,400 and want the best video quality, like cinema cameras are ideal for. Whoa, bye. I would take a look at Facebook Marketplace, see what you get. Truthfully, because I just don't know off the top of my head, to be honest. Some say the Mofash Poco VND doesn't have great color cast. What's your opinion on it? If not, I haven't noticed it to be too bad, to be honest with you. To be fair, I will. The only camera I use it on is my S12 and the Pixis. The Pixis, when it shoots in RAW, like I could just adjust for those colors if there is anything wrong. But I haven't noticed anything that's like outwardly glaringly bad. If you see my Vespa 2 video, yeah, my Vespa 2 video, everything was shot on the Mofage. Anything that was outside was all shot on Mofage, and I didn't see the color cast being bad. A Monopoly world with Monopoly money. Yeah, facts. I wish that was the world that we could live in. When people say real world, I think they just mean opposite of what Gerald Dunn does. But to be fair, he still lives in the real world, for what I understand. That particular part of Ontario, I tend to think isn't real, but okay, that's fair. The only hard part about back to this one, the only hard part about that, and I think this is also where like we get into an impasse, is being able to shoot like out in like, especially in Canada when it snows 6 months of the year, doing like real world shoots in like studio environments with lighting and all the other stuff. You have to incur a lot of overhead to do that. Like I've spent thousands of dollars to make these YouTube videos that generally speaking are free for the user to watch. There's not a lot of income that comes back unless it's sponsored. And then when it's sponsored, everyone gets mad that the video is sponsored by like a third party company that has nothing to do with the camera that I'm talking about. So it does become a little bit difficult to navigate sometimes. And this is just me. This is more therapeutic for myself. Like all of the Canon C50 series, outside of the one Artless video that I did, out of the 5 videos I did on that C50, I didn't get paid for any of them. So like even taking on a sponsor just pays the money back for all the studios and people's time, and having, if there is someone helping edit, which I haven't had, it's kind of difficult to do. So I can understand why Gerald does that, because you incur way less overhead to a customer base that like doesn't have to pay to watch the stuff. Could you please help me? I would like to own an A75 4K 60 without noise reduction. How noisy will it be? Root, I know you said it. I put it in my notes. I'm gonna do it. I haven't done it yet because we're here. I'll be here for another 35 minutes. So yes, I will do it. Lumix S9, because that's the one I have. OpenGate overrated. Are you kidding me? I'll make an analogy and I'll ask you if you think, and I know you're joking. Saying OpenGate is overrated is like if I owed you $50, but I gave you 100 and you gave me the change back because you think money's overrated. You could spend the $50 I gave you and an extra $50, or you could choose not to and you could save it. But the point that's important that people want is the option to choose one or the other. Thanks, man. In my opinion, OpenGate is properly rated. Some people, it'll be super nice or even essential, and some people just really don't need it. But I do think the majority of people would at least slightly benefit from it. Yes, because even if you don't use it, all the other things that OpenGate cameras have are also available, like shooting in all the other modes of 16:9. So the more, see, and this is where we lose the plot again. Now we're just being hyperbolic, and I know I'm assuming you're kidding. So the moral of the story is photography doesn't matter. It's all about video specs. The ironic thing is every photo camera shoots with the full sensor. People are just asking for explosives. Oh yeah, no, photography does matter. I think the point is, especially in the comparison to the competition, is that the differences in the photography specs between the A75 and the competing cameras that have the other features aren't super dissimilar from each other. So, like for example, somebody brought up to me that, well, the A75 has pre-capture, so does the R6 III and the Sony and the S1 II. Or that it could shoot burst mode 30 frames a second. To be fair, all the buffers and all, I guess 3 of the cameras in that price pack aren't big buffers anyways, but the S1 II can shoot in 30 frames a second, 14-bit. Again, the only thing that I can conservatively say, like I could certainly say in terms of the S1 II and the A75, is the sync consistency when using off-camera flash is less consistent on the S1 II than it is on the A75. And I don't know if trying to fix that is worth everything you give up on the S1 II. That's the point I'm trying to make. I couldn't comfortably tell you that. Gonna photo request food, music, and the people with shoes on. Yes, please. Please. If you're a creator that's coming from America and you're going to Ghana to take photos, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if it looks like a stereotype, don't do it. Can we say Sony is giving us lower specs and features than other brands, but they're reliable and just work? 4K polished camera, more 8K overheating risky camera. I mean, I would tend to agree with that, but if I remember correctly, the A74 firmware update bricked the camera the day before the A75 released. It's also had firmware updates brick other cameras where you have to pay Sony to fix it. So yeah, they just work until you need to update something. Everyone's gonna have a reliability issue in some respects. So to say that Sony's bulletproof, I would disagree with that because that literally happened last week. No. What? No, I'm not convincing you to do anything. I'm going to give you the information. You can make your own decision. Are you doing any mentorship for Uncle Kofi? I keep thinking about it. I don't know if I can right now, and I think there's an opportunity that I can't talk about until the contract is signed, and it's with a retailer for a very large, long-spanning film project. And I don't know how much that time is going to take up, so it would be hard. I wouldn't be able to do a good service to people. Kofi, is it possible to get a sponsorship from brands for spec projects without having a YouTube channel? I think right now, unless you have a giant audience, like sponsorships, and I'll be real with you, sponsorships aren't charities. So these brands are looking to make money, right? So if you don't have the audience that they can make money from, you got to be able to provide in other ways. And shooting a beautiful film, unfortunately, isn't enough for these brands to spend money on it because theoretically they can just do that. Like if you equate for skill set, then audience is the only differentiating factor. And it's not like the film itself is going to look so much better than everybody else's that my audience doesn't matter. And if that is the case, then yes, that is the only situation where that can happen. However, if I could find a equitable amount of quality in terms of the output while simultaneously getting the audience that I can sell to, that person will always do better in terms of asking a brand to give you money for it. The Sony A75 is literally a full frame A6700. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that was I yes. Yes? I feel like there was more to that sentence. What is the airspeed? That is a Monty Python joke. Oh, that's why. I've never seen Monty Python. I meant long GOP. Oh, okay. Maxi, so the easiest way to shoot that, and again, y'all better buy me a winter jacket because half these tests you're asking me to do outside, and it is 12 degrees outside. You won't see it when there's objects that aren't moving very quickly. My reliability isn't a sexy headline. Yeah, most of these cameras are reliable, to be honest with you. Hey, we got another super chat. R63 or A74 FX2 or FX30. Thank you for the super chat. I need more than just that to be able to answer that for you. I appreciate the super chat, but I still won't be able to answer that for you. I don't know what things you value. But if you anonymous, you want to just ask that part, like what are you trying to shoot? It would be easier for me to answer that for you. I still have the A7S III as my main shooter, and I truly love it, but lots of clients care about specs using the newest gear. What would you recommend as an upgrade? I'm thinking the S1 II or the A7V. Heavily depends on which lenses that you have. And yeah, heavily depends on which lens. It also depends on like where you are too. So if you are in a market where a lot of people shoot Sony, it wouldn't be a bad idea to stay with Sony to make more money. That doesn't mean that you might not have the most valuable camera for the money, but at the same time, like if that's paying you, like I have a job on an FX6 like on Friday. I don't have a choice in the matter. They're matching it to other cameras, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad idea per se. Favorite short movie you've seen this year? I mean, I'm not gonna say Sinners because I feel like that's basic now at this point, but I'm pulling for Pluribus, but I'm starting to get a little bit mad because they're just continuously not answering any questions that I have. Favorite video game? If you're a gamer, I'm not a gamer, but I just got into the post game on Pokemon Violet, and I'm not going to buy Legends Z until I'm finished it. Got a ZV-E10. What first lens would you recommend for running gun style footage? Miss not seeing you in Big Ben. Sad, much love. Oh shit. Okay, what up? Sorry, I had to look at that for a second, Sam. I'd get the highest aperture, widest zoom lens. I think I'm trying to remember what they're called. I think Sony has like a 16 to 40 or 16 to 70 or something like that. Anything around like a wide angle range, like a mid, get the lowest aperture that you could find that fits that sensor size. That's probably going to be the one to look at. Ooh, yeah, I did play Kingdom Hearts. I played Kingdom Hearts heavy. What you know about Kingdom Hearts, bro? What you know about simple and clean? What you know about that? Yeah, I did play Kingdom Hearts a ton, and I beat it within 24 hours, all three of them. I am excited for 4 if it ever comes out. Like for those of you guys that don't know about this, Disney and Square Enix had joined together and made a game called Kingdom Hearts, where you get to play as Square Enix characters, but in the levels were Disney movies. The frustrating point about that particular game is that the distance between releases were effectively the distance between like Sony's better cameras. Like the A7S2 came out, I think, when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, and then the A7S3 came out when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, which was like a 5-6 year difference. And it got to the point like we waited for Kingdom Hearts so much, and they kept releasing things that wasn't Kingdom Hearts 3 that people got sick of it and went somewhere else. Kingdom Hearts 4 is a myth at this point. Yeah, that's the difference between the A7S3 and 4 is the same thing as Kingdom Hearts. The Nikon ZR is a Leica for video. Connor, you told me that already. Same, but since we waited for case forms to be within reach, or might be yo, we don't know. This is a thing. This is the exact conversation that we're having with Sony cameras. Is we've been told that there's potential for a Kingdom Hearts 4. We don't know what it's about. We don't know what the levels are. We don't know the release date. We just know maybe Sora's in it. That's it. And we don't know anything else past that. Hey, Kobe, I have a huge collection of Sony third-party lenses. Tamron, I want to buy the ZR. How good is the performance without native Sony lenses? Greetings from Germany. Andy, I want to be real with you. I have not used the Megadapt. I don't have one. They're so far back ordered that no one can get me one. So I don't know. I've tried it. I've tried using the Viltrox one when I tested the Nikon ZR, but that was only on the G Master 35mm. So I don't know. Yeah, with camera companies, you don't say it with your chest, you say it with your wallet. Their bottom line is profit. Yes. And here's the thing, like as much as people are going to be mad about the A75, the fact that they sold millions of A7 IVs, people are going to buy this camera. Now, that's not to say, and again, I said this before, but just because there's sales numbers and market share isn't indicative of the camera being better than the other, unless you're a Sony stock trader. And then yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like McDonald's is going to be the highest grossing food franchise in the world. Still makes you poop your pants the next morning though. So, and can slowly kill you, but whatever. Yeah, Connor, you shouldn't have said that around someone who's the Nikon ZR and the Leica guy. It was a bad idea. 5,000 ISO versus 12,000 ISO versus 8,000 ISO. What is a sweet spot for you and why? On the A7V, probably just 8,000. Oh, you were asking about the FX3, the S12. I'm not gonna lie. 6400. If you got a native ISO at 6400, I'm doing fine. I'm chilling. If your 6400 is clean, bro, my expectations any higher than that, I'm like, okay. Reason being also because like for my like world, I don't really shoot in like pitch darkness situations. So anything more than that, I'm like, it's a thing to have, but I would have been fine if it wasn't there. And that's coming from having an FX6 for a long time. Even when I had an FX6, I would go to 12,800 ISO, and then I would have to ND myself back down, which would have ended up being 6,400 anyways. So honestly, if a camera got good base ISO 6,400, I don't care which camera it is. I'm chilling. I'm good. That way I don't got to ND filter my way back down. So, hey, what's going on, APC? APC, damn, I keep doing that. Is the Sony A1 Mark II a good camera? Does a bear shit in the woods? That's a Canadian reference. Look that one up. For that Manfrotto 1 tripod you made a video, would it be okay for a minimal Pixis rig? Looks great for mirrorless cameras, but would you use it on Pixis in a pinch? Yes. I would not use the Ursa Cine 12K. Terrible idea. I almost broke my finger 2 days ago. And the reason why is because I was too late. Like I left my Edelkrone tripod on set to a shoot that I did earlier, and the production assistant picks it up, but she's gone until Wednesday, so I only have my Manfrotto in the trunk. So I put the head on and I put my Ursa 12K in it, but it can't control that weight because it's too much. And it slid back, and my hand was underneath like where the tripod head goes, and that thing almost snapped my finger in two. So the Pixis rig, I think it'll be fine. Don't you dare put an Ursa Cine 12K on that thing. You will lose a hand. Cool. I'm okay with the Mofage purchase then. Thanks, brother. Hey, no problem, man. Yeah, truth. People don't realize that almost every real world video I do on a photo shoot usually costs me $700 to $1,000 on average. Yes, bro. The amount of like I will perpetually be in the more you guys want these real world videos, the way that I'm not going to have generational wealth to give out free content is actually insane. Anybody that's not like that's doing reviews from behind behind their desks is doing it because it costs so much money. Like I got a studio thing in like 30 minutes. I'm going to go in about I don't know, like 45 minutes. That studio alone cost me like $200, right? And then I got to pay for people's time. And that 2-hour shoot isn't even going to cover me being able to even alone do the A75 video because I got to go and take it outside and shoot in multiple different locations. And then I got to bring in all the other cameras that I have access to that's being asked for. And obviously I benefit in some future way getting either a sponsor ad read or something like that later on, but that's not guaranteed. So you're paying a lot of money up front. You're spending a lot of time up front for things you may never actually see benefits from. And oftentimes you don't, or you like just make it in the middle. Even at a smaller channel, I totally relate the struggles of sponsors, free gear, and even clickbait and thumbnails. People get so upset over this stuff. It seems like they want you to fail. Even when you're providing real inside information about the stuff you're talking about, there's a sponsor or a thumbnail they don't like, they'll discount. Yeah, that's true. I can tell you every foolproof way that you can make money using your camera in 2026, but if it has a sponsor on it, don't you dare. Which sucks. Which also like again, this is another therapeutic sentence for myself. I think something I've acknowledged too, and the reason why it doesn't bother me as much is like shoe on the other foot. Most people would switch places with you, so I wouldn't take it too serious. I wouldn't take it to heart. Hey, sorry if off topic, but what mic are you using currently, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, Jay Vasquez, you have asked the correct question. This is a Mauno PD200W. I have a video on it this week. What I like about this is if I had a longer cable, this thing could be wireless, and I could also hook this up into my camera and have a wireless microphone. And I think I'm going to use this as an answer to, when people hate when you hold like the little tiny lav mics. I'm going to hold one of these guys now, and it's going to be super annoying for people that don't like it, and it's going to be funny. But I don't know how it sounds. So you guys are going to have to help me out because I have not done an audio test on this. I just fired it up and figured, hey, I'll use this. And then also I can hook it up my laptop and have a wireless microphone from my laptop, which is important because I travel soon. The problem is not that OpenGate is overrated. The problem is that Sony is not giving it to the consumer, and it's something that some consumers want without any justifiable reason. Yes. That's why people are mad. That people are mad because you're taking an option away from them and then telling them to kick rocks when you ask them about it. That's why people are upset. A lot of people post and frame in 4:3, so having the full sensor readout would be way more beneficial. Yeah, the sensor's already there. Just let me use it. That's the argument people make. A75 is a great for photographers on record, a little bit of video. It's not a true high, but if you truly do both, then it's not a great camera. I wouldn't say it's not a great camera. I think there's just better options. Do you think absolutely it's absolutely no? Do I like to use it with my anamorphic lens? Yes. It's a feature that has its use cases. I'd rather have the option. Yeah, I don't want features taken away from me. I guess also because there's a character limit on comments too, so I guess that's why it's in parts. Enoch, you asked us. The amount of money in just gas I spent to make a video is $400 in the FJ. Yep. Anonymous, I asked for more information, and then you just asked the question again. Give me more information as to what you're shooting. I can answer the question for you. But if you just repeat the question, I can't answer it for you. Yeah, the answer to the reliable comment had me laugh. Well, it's weird that we're like, oh, well, Sony's just work the reliable. I'm like, every firmware update that I've ever seen, like I don't even know why I'm on these Facebook groups. Honestly, I don't even use Facebook. Um, I'll go on like Facebook during a firmware update, and it's a bunch of people with bricked cameras that are confused as to what's happening, and they're pissed off. Uh, Again, I think sometimes we don't even argue the point anymore. We'll argue the person, and we will argue to justify one's feelings. And I think that is what's kind of happening with this whole Sony versus everybody thing. Because when, as Sony users, and as someone that was in the Sony, like I used to only own Sony cameras, mostly because I didn't know anything else that existed outside of Canon. Um, when we're clutching our FX3s, criticizing everybody else, there wasn't a lot of pushback. That pendulum always will swing and make its way back around. We just can't act surprise Pikachu whenever it happens. You don't need a large audience, but you need to prove that you can get views no matter what the platform, and views don't come from audience as much anymore. Yeah, that's fair. That's what I mean. You need to pull enough people because they need to sell to somebody, or already have a large audience so they can hedge their bets. The reason is, in my opinion, people are jumping on the S12 6K open gate is low memory needed. The Pixel and Canon have a way better codec and all I. That's why I hate the Lumix hype. But then the same thing can be made true about having smaller file sizes on Sony cameras then, while also having open gate. Not every, and this is where we're trying to justify not liking something based on one's personal use case. And the H.265 on the Lumix cameras, and I use it quite a bit. I have the opportunity to actually put it beside an ARRI Alexa Mini LF. To say that the footage looked bad would be a lie. And also, to be fair, if we're going to go with that and saying like the H.265 is limited, and that's why you don't get the hype, then we also simultaneously have to say anything that Cam Mackey's posted in the last 12 months doesn't look good, which would be a lie. And all of it's shot in H.265 on a Lumix camera. So if we're watching somebody be able to put up that footage, doubling back and saying because of the type of codec it is and the reason why that's why it doesn't look good, those two things are going to conflict with each other. We can't simultaneously say good work is up there, being able to use that particular file type, but then also simultaneously at the same time say, well, it's limiting. Well, who's it a limit for? And if the limitation is skill set, then skill set. That's not to make an excuse and say that we don't need RAW. You can live without having a RAW feature, but if it's offered to me at a competitive price, I'm probably going to take it. If you're shooting 4K 120 for hours straight, then your camera deserves to overheat. I'm going to ask a serious question because I think someone asked me about the overheating of 4K 60 for like 2.5 hours. That's 4 hours of footage to watch back if you have to watch all that back. Has anybody shot 4K 60 for 3 hours and like not only needed it, but like what was that experience watching that stuff back to find selects? Because truthfully, I can't think of a reason to shoot in 4K 60 for more than 4 minutes. I'm actually like I'm genuinely curious because I know a lot of the conversation around like what's the overheating at like 4K 60, and if it's less than 45 minutes, then it's not usable anymore. I'm genuinely curious. What are things that you've needed to do that with? Because in 8 years I've never had to do that, so I'm genuinely confused. I've been lurking with all of this camera debating. Meanwhile, I'm just making videos with the camera I already have. Excellent. Kale McCullough, where are my people at? You ain't getting me. You ain't getting me. I'm not answering that one. Why do you say that? We film sports at a APC. Do you shoot 120 though continuously for the entire sporting event? Because like I don't know, I've been on sidelines of sports. Like I cut my camera all the time. I don't necessarily leave when I go to the Shrine Bowl. I don't necessarily leave it shooting for 2 hours. Football plays stop every 10 seconds. So I think what he's trying to say is that like 4K 120 frames a second for an hour straight is. I don't know. I've not had to do that before, even shooting sports. Yeah, Pluribus is lost. Remember that? It's like Lost. Yeah, it is. I just don't like how long they're not answering anything. It's really annoying. I'm surprised most people don't share this thought process. I'm not thinking what camera brand should I buy. I'm thinking which camera should I upgrade where I have invested the most amount of lenses. Honestly, a lot of people don't have that many lenses. Like I understand the Sony argument with like how many lens options you have. Most people have like less than six. And I only know that because I did a video on the six Sony lenses that I'd love to have, and everyone got mad at me for having six lenses. Like people got mad at me for having six lenses to begin with. Um, so yeah, you have a bunch of options, but like you're probably gonna pick less than 10 of them. Tamron, yeah, the 17 to 72.8, I think is Sam. If you're looking at that, that's probably what it is. I picked the Sony Sniper f1.2 lens for my FX3 and A6700, and the Sony G 10 to 20 millimeters. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so you got 5 lenses. Also, I think it was Viltrox or Seven Artisans has like super cheap full frame autofocus lenses that don't look too bad. Okay, so I'm learning a lot about APS-C lenses because I've been shooting full frame for a while. No. So I beat each of the Kingdom Hearts games in 24 hours, not all 3 of them. That would be wild. KH3 Bailey. Yeah, it was mostly Disney stuff. Yeah. Terminator 2D side scrollers. Mega Man all the way. Mega Man all the way. Are you saying it's more important to have views consistently or total subscribers? Depends on the brand. So subscribe. In my experience, subscriber count will get you through the door. Views will help you lock in your rate. So I notice this all the time. Like certain parts of the times of the year, I notice that like brands that I had reached out to, even if my views were the same, to be honest with you, like I've pretty much averaged around like 7 to 10,000 views a video. And that's been since 20,000 subscribers, more or less. And I found that between 50 plus thousand subscribers and 20 to 50, I have completely different conversations of those like in those 2 periods, even when the views are equated. I think maybe there's a part of it that there's more consistency of having that 10,000 view video because obviously there's more videos between those 2 times. But I'd say like the subscriber count doesn't matter as much, but it does get you in the door. It definitely does. Kingdom Hearts 4 or Bloodborne 2, they'll probably release at the same time. Honestly, probably. Let's talk about some real stuff. Is a 3D pop real? Oh, you're talking about the Viltrox lenses. No, never mind. Kingdom Hearts 4 would definitely come out for the PlayStation 6, yes. Sony lenses are unfortunately goated. I don't know why that's unfortunate. The 20 to 70 f2 is amazing. And yes, the Mega SCV is also goated. Sony is going to sell a ton of A75 because of the lenses. Yeah, sure. Just for context, though, that lens is like $4,000. So, like, yeah, they'll sell a bunch of them. But if spending $3,000 for the camera bodies is kind of have a conversation with yourself moment, spending a $4,000 price tag on a lens, yeah, it's a really good lens. 4,000 is a lot of money, no matter which way you slice it. What are your thoughts on Netflix buying Warner Brothers? Is this the end of theatrical? Better question: does the camera community even care about Hollywood movie industry? I have thoughts about that, and I don't know if anyone's gonna like this. The kind of like purist filmmaking part of social media is an infinitely smaller category of people than we'd like to accept. Which is why you start to see like a lot of the creators now are going to have to start being more personality channels. And unfortunately a lot of people that have worked in production or a lot of people that have worked in that space, if you're coming to social media, your professionalism I don't think is necessarily going to translate into as much of an audience as it used to. That's from the creator side. The Netflix buying Warner Brothers, I don't think it's going to end theatrical, especially if they could make money from it. For example, I have no interest of watching Avengers Doomsday on my television screen first. So I don't think theatrical is going to be in trouble yet. Also, I think Netflix said themselves that they're not going to cancel theatrical for the projects that already exist. However, I could totally see Netflix doing something where either they buy some of these cinemas and they start having things where like you have to like pay for the movie before on Netflix and then go over there and watch it or whatever. So I don't know if theatrical is going to end, or it might just be different. I don't think it's going to end. Also, like they might have bought Warner Brothers, but like there's other studios that exist. if vertical iPhones is basically 1200 pixels, doesn't 4K vertical on the A74 give more than enough room to have headroom for social verticals? If you frame it that way, but if I have 3x2 that has more resolution, I would take it. Like, let me give you another analogy. $150 is enough for groceries in most places. But if I gave you $225, you would probably use at least $175, $180 to buy groceries. What's your best Canadian Mountie accent? I don't even know what they sound like, bro. um, I live in Ontario. We don't see Mounties. Is a 2875 good all around lens? Yeah, I don't. Who am I to tell you that? You tell me. What do you need it for? If you already need it, if you need a wide to a medium focal length, why not? So I can't, again, I can't tell you what you're looking at while you're looking at it. That's between you and the Lord. I just kid. It's a great camera, but it's my initial thought when it first came out. Yeah, Connor said that to me before, and uh, yeah, it's not a super contentious point. Hey, brother, A74 crop factor. Yes, 7. Yeah, I will test it. I think that's what you're asking. You're asking me if I can test it. We need to make and sell more products in the US so people hire us to make videos to sell their stuff. I'm Canadian. I got no horse in this race. I am from your country, my friend. All my friends live there. That's all. Thank you. That's good. That sounds good. That's why I asked. Oh, thanks. Sound is almost perfect. Oh, thank you, man. Perfect. Do you do much low light live event shoots? No. I have a fashion show BTS video next month, and we don't normally do low light work. Low key stress. I think like it depends on what camera you're shooting on, but I think most of the modern stuff I think could be okay. Yeah, the only way you're doing BTS shoots is wear something Meta Glass. Remember, hey Meta record. Oh yeah, it's true. You can use that. Difficult to do it on location. The regular camera. You don't need OpenGate for the same reason we don't need 30 hertz H.665. Sony not upgrading Verilog for the Callum, I don't know what you're saying, brother. Like the energy though. I like the aspect ratio. It is not about anamorphics to be the way Jarek Irk's such a YouTuber. Show his stance is a little. I don't know what you said. Dude, I just got the same mic a week ago and it's amazing for the price. Yeah, I think it's like $100. Like this thing's not super expensive. Which is nice because I like I have a sponsored video for this, and the video way I'm gonna talk about all the features on it, but like I like these things that like work well, but they're not expensive because when I get to recommend them, I don't necessarily feel like I'm talking to a very finite amount of people. The least helpful question in all of camera talk is what is the best? Yes, because I don't know how to answer something without context, especially when you're asking me where to spend your money. Because unfortunately what ends up happening is when people spend that money in that place and it doesn't work out, you don't necessarily look at yourself and say, hey, I probably should have asked better questions. You call me a stupid YouTuber shill, whatever. And then I become the bane of your problem. So it's easier for me not to answer when I don't have the information. I like the aspect ratio. It's not about anamorphics too, by the way. Gerald is such a dumb YouTuber shill. His stance is a little dumb. I'm not going to call Gerald dumb. He's definitely more intelligent than I am as far as camera specs go. I don't agree with his positioning on OpenGate, which I think is a fair thing to say, to be honest with you. But yeah, calling people the shill thing is so May 2025. But yeah, no, I don't agree. I don't agree with the position that OpenGate is overrated. I very much don't agree with it, but not enough to start calling people names and doing the personal thing, because I think that's where you lose things. You could argue the point without arguing the person. I almost bought an FJ Cruiser and then I realized that my Bronco costs the same price and is 10 years newer. Because like FJs are tanks, like those things are going to last forever, but they also will charge you. Theory about OpenGate is Sony charges $40 a month per OpenGate on the movie cameras. I think they're holding back the FX3 Mark as a killer feature. Most of y'all don't even realize this, but that OpenGate discovery, I'm the one that pulled that stuff out. I just never made a video about it. I just been telling. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, shout out to Big Cook for actually figuring that stuff out. And I think Armando had the same video and take about it. I don't know if you're going to get OpenGate on the FX3 too. I doubt it, to be honest. 3x2 and 4x3 looks dope, especially on an OLED. Fair. I shoot in 3x2 even when I don't crop it. If you watch any of my videos, my A-roll, I leave it in 3x2. I don't care. It's a creative choice. I'm more pissed that I don't have focus stacking on my A6700 than OpenGate. My shooting style doesn't need the highest quality. Most don't. Sure. And if I told you that I could do it and I didn't want to do it, and if you want to go somewhere else, you probably would go somewhere else. Do people really get upset over responsive video? If it's a creator I like watching, I really don't mind much. I would want my favorite creators to do well. I understand if they aren't being genuine. People get really upset. Like, to the point where, and also sometimes when I like see the critiques about like getting sponsored and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily sound like they're upset about getting the sponsor, but it kind of sounds like it sounds like they're mad at something else, but like the sponsor thing is the lowest hanging fruit, so they're going to use that against you. So like that's sometimes what happens when I watch some of these things, particularly with DJI reviews. Like I went out to go in like research the Action 6. I bought one. It's somewhere here. I bought an Action 6 a little while ago, and I went like looking at reviews and stuff like that, and I watched my friends and stuff as well. But I also watched the whole like the truth about whatever camera release or whatever. And the videos were more focused on shitting on YouTubers that got the camera on release than it was actually giving you the truth about the thing, which is kind of the same energy as the sponsored stuff, which is very strange. And it's just like hard to navigate. Why are we shouting at each other about this? I'm getting my first large camera van next month. What do you use for transporting and organizing your gear? A van, a car, any tips for advice? I actually posted a video about how I pack my car for productions. And the way that I do it is I have a Ford Bronco Sport. Anything that is more than my car, I assume that I have the budget to pay someone to bring that stuff in. Can we talk about how we should try to rent some of these cameras, Lumix, etc., before talking shit? Yeah, we should. Except a lot of places don't have rental houses that house those cameras. For example, in the city of Toronto, I have 7 rental shops that are around the same place. Not one of them have Lumix cameras available for rent. I'm a computer engineer. Sony might not have in-house the encoder to use third party for. Yeah, maybe. Prefer 120 because I do action sports, but I try to make sure Talking Head is locked to 4K 30. Do you leave it recording for 60 minutes plus? I'm not even doing that as like being malicious. I'm genuinely curious because the amount of people that like make that a big deal is like this, but the amount of people that I know that actually do it is like that, like that. So I'm curious to see what those. The only time shooting 4K 60 for long is nice is at a wedding reception. But that's with cameras like the R6 II that I own. The C mode dials are fast. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, fair. Okay. Fair. Maybe you should have said that. I mean, regularly shoot extended periods of time or at least frequently shorter clips, but the easier answer is 4K 60 at the very least. Is weddings and events where blink if you miss it is organic. Okay. For 2 hours? Like 2 hours consistently without moving the camera. That's what I mean. I mean, 2 hours, you press record and you let it run for 125 minutes. I can't decide on a Canon 24 to 70 2.8 or 24 to 105 2.8 for sports. I already own it. Well, 105 is a bigger number than 70. 105 is a bigger number than 70. As long as you have the money for it. Couldn't it be helpful to record fast action sports? Yeah. My question is the duration of time. No, I have not. Actually, I might do that today. I'm going to put that in my notes. My big concern is 4K on hot days. Fair point. We won't know. And no one is letting me take their cameras to Africa when I go. So there's no way of me being able to figure that out. I will bring my S1 II to Ghana, though. So that way I can do an overheating test. Because I didn't even mention the firmware update because it wouldn't change anything. I filmed dance films where I shoot in 6K 60 the entire time, which is insane. But mostly my shots are about, my shoots are 4 hours long. That's on the Nikon ZR, by the way. Creative Network, I have a dumb question for you. Because I shoot choreography as well. Usually a set of choreography is not 4 hours long. Like you could probably get, I don't know, a 4-minute song out of there. But that's what I mean. I mean, you turn it on, 2.5 hours go by, and then you have that clip. I don't have any extra information. I'm going to try the dynamic range in photo mode because that's where it works. So, after they put OpenGate in every camera, what's the next hot topic in Total RAW? Probably. Well, here's the thing: all of the majority of the cameras that can shoot in 3x2 OpenGate, and I think one thing that gets missed out a lot is that once you have 3x2 OpenGate, you get the full resolution of the sensor, which also gives you the ability to read out the raw out of the sensor as well. Like the two, like a lot of times the thing they come hand in hand, unless you don't have raw. I think the Fuji X-H2S is the exception to this, but the other 3x2 cameras can shoot in raw as well because you get to use the whole sensor, and as long as you can process it, which actually takes less processing if you're shooting in raw, that those would come out already. So once you put it in every single camera, then it might be a battle of price and ergonomics. And that's probably what's going to happen next. But at the same time, I still think it's a valid thing to bring up because you're asking someone to spend $3,000. Oh, what's going on, Nick? Do you think it's wise to enlist videos that don't hit your expected mark of views? No. I have videos that, like, if I talk about tripods, hit or miss, bro. Like the Manfrotto one, I think hit because like did okay, because a lot of people were interested in it. But like my Edelcroft video is not going to do well at all. Neither did my small rig Tribex video, and I just leave it there. I don't care. I got paid. I don't. So I want to get the Pixis 12K. Is the banning a real issue or problem, or just a few cameras, or should I wait to purchase? From what I like, so for the Pixis 12K, I don't have that issue. I've seen people that do have an issue. Um, for me personally, it has not affected me in any sort of way. If you do have that issue, I believe in the US, Blackmagic is a tool to be able to recalibrate your sensor if something does happen. And they've also, I saw something on a Facebook group where I think it's a very small percentage of cameras that have that issue. The only thing is that you don't really go to the doctor to tell them that you're healthy. So everyone that is having that issue is 100% of the people that are going to be vocal about it. That being said, I don't particularly know. And if you have a problem with it, just like I would contact Blackmagic first and see if it's a fixable problem. From what I understand, where the progress is on that is that A, they're going to have a firmware update that can fix it if you do have that problem, and B, if you do have that problem, they can also fix it for you. But personally, for me, it hasn't bothered me, and I step out of the conversation because I didn't pay for my Pixis 12K. So me saying that would just people would just get up in arms and find some kind of way to be upset. So I'm like, you know what? It's just better off I don't say anything. Yes, I shoot 4K 60 100 for 2 to 6 hours at least 3 times a month. Memory need is about 1 TB a day of storage. That's a lot of storage. Um, cool. Now I know. I genuinely didn't know. I whenever I shoot sports, if I'm shooting football, when the play's over, I cut the clip. Um, I genuinely never leave things shooting in high frame rates for long periods of time, so it's good to know. That being said, if you're able to do it before the A75, then you could probably continue to do it without the A75. I bought a Blazer Idomorphics and I can't go back to spherical. I'm in the same boat, except I have clients that pay my bills that don't care about Idomorphics, so I can't do it all the time. And being petty for not liking the. Am I being petty for not liking the FX2 as much because a lot of the features they fave could have went to the A75, A74 with an update? I don't think so. I'm pretty open with Sony about not liking the FX2, and they don't care. I was just at my rep's house yesterday, pick up the A75, and I'm like, this should have been in the FX2, right? And he's like, no, that's fair. You know what? Some of these brands also they could take stuff on the chin, man. I think it's when you start being unprofessional and like you start saying crazy stuff that they get upset about. Off topic, but have you used the Zhou and Molus 200 form factor? No, I haven't. I have two 100s though. I just call them the Cam Light when I'm on set, but I've used two of those. Grocery open gate analogy was really good. Thanks, man. Have you tested any Laowa lenses? If you want to see the 10mm on the A7C2, I posted that almost a year ago. So that was the beginning of this year. I have a 12mm for my Nikon ZR that I haven't finished doing the video yet. And I will eventually. It's not about headroom, it's perspective and anamorphic D-squeeze. Same like when you buy an F2 lens, step back, end up looking like F4. Yeah, fair enough. Buying, keeping gear that you think might need in the near future versus selling it. Have a bad case of gas. I agree and I don't agree because there's been times where I've sold gear because I didn't think I needed it, then had a situation where I needed it and I was screwed. So I'm half and half out with that. I want a Lumix box style camera. We all want a Lumix box style camera. Sean, if you're here, make a Lumix box style camera. We asked you for one. We asked nicely. We'll ask angrily, but we'll ask nicely first. Make us a box style Lumix camera. There. Now we're all on the same page. Just rent a C50 and FX3 for low light. They both do great in dark BTS shooting environment. I agree with you. I think the problem with that is that a lot of people either don't live near rental shops, don't have insurance for rentals, um, or don't have rental shops near them. We don't have share grid in Canada, so if you don't live in the city of Toronto, God bless you. I'm sorry, but you probably already said what microphone it is. This is the Mauno PD200W. This video will be out this week about this microphone, but I also wanted to try it because if you guys like how it sounds, then yeah. Yeah, sure, man. Oh yeah, that's the point that Mr. Kokrom is trying to make is giving the option to somebody is beneficial if it's the same price. That's the argument I think that most people. That's the root of the problem. As someone who's on both sides of the equation, a viewer and a creator, it's vastly the majority of people in the camera space are very honest people doing their best, but everyone has their biases. Yeah, if you go to any other niche on YouTube in terms of sponsorships, it's far more insidious than you think it is. Like you got people putting out like a 2-minute disclaimer on YouTube camera videos where people just raw dog it on sponsorships in some of these videos, and some of these sponsors are wild. Like you got streamers giving out gambling sponsorships, and if I do anything with friggin' Skillshare or Artlist, everyone loses their mind. I get this. I get the Artlist thing. I don't necessarily disagree with some of the points that people have on that. I think I might be switching to Sony brand since the R6 Mark III when plugging into the full HDMI screen goes blank and doesn't show the external monitor. It can't do both. I'll have to find out if the A75 can do both because I know the FX3 can't if you display on the monitor. People don't understand how helpful OpenGate is until they actually use it. Yeah, no, they won't. Again, it doesn't. OpenGate's not here to take something from you. Neither is Internal Raw. Adam, the worst part is that some people actually have those sentiments against me, which I mean that's fine. Are you into Final Fantasy 2? Only if we talk about Final Fantasy 7, baby. People have different opinions and still be friends and fine with each other. People can have unique in their own workflow. Yes, and that's what the weird thing is about this whole like trying to pit creators against each other thing. Most of them hang out with each other. So this whole like, oh my god, like you said something, you disagree with somebody, you must hate them. I'm like, brother, they text each other on a regular basis. When we go to events, we eat with each other, we talk shit, we make jokes. I don't know, the whole imagined YouTube beef between creators. I think if people actually saw us in real life, they'd be like, "Oh wait, they actually don't not like each other." Very few combination of creators don't like each other, and I'm not putting anyone's business out there. But if you guys think that there's like legitimate disdain for each other, then you have another thing coming. It's mostly people that are trying to champion other creators that are more disliking of other creators than the person that they're supposedly in the beef with to begin with, which is also just a weird thing to do. The Cayman R6 III has great quality video specs, but that full HDMI can be used. I didn't know that. I'm going to try it on the A75. I have my monitor on me too. OpenGate is not overrated. It's Sony being strong-headed about their cameras not overheating. They also put all these features in the FX3. If they do, that'd be great. You know what the worst thing is if they don't put this OpenGate in this FX3 Mark II, people are going to lose their minds. They're going to see punched walls. They're going to riot. There's going to be houses set on fire. It's going to be insane. I'm also kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, viewers should critique without calling creators names. Yes. I don't agree with, and I'll just say it, I don't agree with getting on a podcast and telling everyone they don't know what they're effing doing, or calling people camera bros and bozos or whatever the case is, or calling people dinosaurs or whatever the hell you're going to call people. Like, I don't agree with that, because at that point, you're not justifying a point. You're just attacking people because you're mad at them. And then they're going to attack you back because there's more of them than there is of you. But then at the same time, you can't act surprise Pikachu once it happens. Like, you can't simultaneously insult a group of people and then be surprised when the attention that you're looking for, you get. It's a weird thing to do. Anyway, folks are too comfortable behind a screen. That's for sure. I've seen that happen in real life. Kofi's hands make his Bronco Sport look like a toy. You are fair. Yeah, that's right. He needs a custom grip. So hey, y'all behave yourselves. You and Cam Mack are both my favorite creators. Hey, let's go. Because we're both YouTube's DEI hires. Yeah, I said it. I want to buy the Nikon ZR because I think rental houses are more likely to get them because I know they won't get Lumix cameras. Weirdly enough, I've been asked about renting out my S1II and S1R2 a couple times, but yeah, you're right. They don't rent very well, but like that's the weird part too. It's because productions don't ask for Lumix cameras because production's slow to move. Like we know that already. RE cameras are great, but the margins are less big than they were years ago. But 4K 60 recording, if you do a college cultural wedding ceremony, you don't cut it, then yeah, it could be an hour or two easily. Most wedding ceremonies are about 20 to 40 minutes maximum. Yeah, so that's kind of what I meant. It's a very smaller use case to which, like, I feel like before the A75 existed, you were still able to do. So if you're able to get extra features on a thing you're able to still do, like, I think that's still okay, in my opinion. You can disagree with people and still be fine. Yes. I think going for personal digs is not a good idea, and you will definitely get the attention that you're looking for. Global shutter over open gate. Why not both? Why not both? Also, like, I don't know. I had a red Komodo X, and I went to the Pixis, and although open gate is super, super nice, I like it for, like, handheld. If I'm, like, doing, like, longer, like, runs for handheld, I don't miss the Komodo X at all. Like, I don't think about it at all. I use one for the Nikon ZR video, and I'm like, personally. Yeah, I like this whole debacle when your gear was stolen. Yeah. I didn't really mind you to sponsor video and understood why. I just keep pushing and watch the video. Actually, Adam, the ironic part about that is that I had a sponsor for a dash cam that probably would have prevented that. I said no because the audience wouldn't have cared. And when my car got broken into, I'm like, give me that back. And then on top of that, my car got hit. The reason why you haven't seen a lot of Kofi Cup's car footage is because somebody hit my car. They like bashed in the whole passenger side of the door, and then it took me a bunch of time to actually get it fixed. I would have had to pay $5,800 out of pocket on top of my insurance if I didn't have that dash cam that I got last year after my car got broken into. So, hey, you know what? You could disagree with the sponsorship, but that just saved me $6,000. Final Fantasy is awesome. I'm partial. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is the only Final Fantasy we should be caring about. Okay, I'm going to get through a couple different comments because I got like an hour to get to the studio. It's only 20 minutes away, but I want to be ready. I have some really few heavy channel size that I have some absolute bombs. Just for brand stuff, would you recommend taking some videos down? No, I wouldn't recommend doing that because then if there's a giant gap between videos, then brands don't really know if you're like a one-hit wonder or something like that. Just rock them, be consistent. Eventually it'll start to hit, and eventually you'll find your cadence and things will be more consistent. Kobe doesn't look like... Hey, me and my brother are actually going to cosplay some Final Fantasy characters next year. Yes, in several event type shoots, we hit record 4K 60, 120 frames. The day rate on that shoot is 1,200, 600. Yeah, and again, if you need to go for, like, I'm not here to stop you. If you have that, I think we all just need to understand that the rest of the world exists and different use cases are going to be different. I'm not going to make this video to say the A75 is useless camera because that's a lie. But if you're going to ask me value for dollar, what is the better camera out there? I'm not going to say it's the A75 because I also am not a liar. Or at least I try not to be. I'm just camera joking, man. Denzel. Hey, I might do a Barrett cosplay. I might do an M'Baku one, but I don't have any hair anymore. Same, love the remake too. Yeah, the Final Fantasy remake is dope, especially when they had it more fleshed out. When it first came out, it was super limited. Definitely not consistently without turning the camera off, but I usually shoot all my dance content like a music video, multiple. Yeah, so that's what I meant. So that's kind of what I meant about the 4K 60 for 2.5 hours thing. Because I for people that it's useful for, perfect. I just think that might be few and far between, if I'm being honest, because I do the same thing. Mac, that may mean more things than you think. Make a damn box camera. Yeah, hey, you know what? Everyone, if you see Sean out in these Lumix streets, demand this box camera. Continues at day rate is just delivery footage. Yeah, I usually don't edit anything anymore. I let that be somebody else's problem. Mike sounds great. Not much mud in your voice. Hey, let's go. Thank you. Kobe, do you have an affiliate mic for that mic? I didn't see in the description unless I'm blind. That's because I haven't put it up yet. I literally, so I was supposed to do this video a week ago, and then something happened with the courier, and it got all screwed up. If I find it, I'll get it to you. So here's the thing: as much as I do sponsored videos, I'm so bad at affiliates. I forget to put affiliate links and stuff all the time. Like that Edelchrome video I just put up, I don't have an affiliate link for it. You know what? I did the sponsor video, didn't even ask for them. I didn't ask for one. I should, but I didn't even bother asking, and I should do that. Love your channel. Keep up with the great work. Hey, thank you, man. Cover winning brownie points. Hey, you know what? If I ever had a gaming channel, we'd be playing Pokemon and Final Fantasy. Hey, thank you, man. When you say Canon and Sony can't display on both screen and HDMI, is it the image or the menu? The menu. King Harv. Do you think even though Sony is falling behind with tech, they still have the best roadmap to becoming a serious filmmaker? That I mean, from the A7C line all the way to the Venice? Kind of. Here's the thing: like being a filmmaker doesn't mean you have to have a Venice. And truthfully, I'm going to let people that are more deep in the industry talk about that industry and where things are going. I don't think it's going to be important. I think it's going to become less important as things go on. My favorite creator is better than your favorite creator. Ain't that what it sounds like nowadays, eh? Armando's the only dinosaur. How is Armando and Terry catching strays in a stream that they're not even in? You guys are wild. If I see my FX3A monitor, I can see both the monitor. Oh, you can? Okay, so they fixed that. So on the FX3, when you put the info display on the monitor, it turns off the screen on the camera. Can we get a color grading node tree video? Oh, you guys are going to get... So here's the thing. When I go to... I'm going to give myself 10 more minutes. I don't really need... I don't need a whole hour. But when I go to Ghana, there's going to be a bunch of collabs and a bunch of very different footage you're going to see that I'm reserving certain ideas for. Specifically, things like color grading. I'm going to do another skin tone video. I do one every year. I might actually do an overheating test in Accra with the S12 and S1R2. So, my DEI brother. Hey, you know what's hilarious though is, and I'll say this: if you're anyone that is of a certain melanation, a certain pigment, I have been told by brands that that is a thing that sometimes on these campaigns they look for, because there are campaigns that you will find out later that I have no business in. No business. Not at all. Yeah, we might say, well, Kofi, we like your content. Cool. I got no business in some of these conversations. And most of it is because they're looking for a more diverse collection of creators that also have a certain audience and a certain output as well. You get what you put in. I don't understand why most camera companies don't model their main systems after Blackmagic and Ari. Those are the easiest cams I ever used. I don't know. I don't know why they don't make menus. I think Sony's making an attempt to make their menus easier, and I think so is Canon and Nikon. I think just needs to figure that out. Nikon needs to figure it out. Kobe, you're a funny guy, but I think maybe the best joke I've ever heard a camera video all year is when the Urban Autofocus was being called Yeah, so if you guys don't remember, Urban Sports Autofocus, I called the DEI autofocus in front of everybody at Lumix, like in front of like their board, in front of Sean and in front of Matt. And sometimes I will go to these things and I talk loud, and I think that I say things under my breath and no one hears me, and then the whole room hears me. And everyone heard that, and it became that was the thing it was called. It was the DEI autofocus. Armando was one of the people to push me to do YouTube. Forever grateful. That old dinosaur shall tube doucher. Fun fact, and ironically enough, the 3 people that got me into doing YouTube was Mark Bone specifically, because he lives like 2 lights down. I live down the street from Mark Bone. I see him like twice a year. YC Imaging, because I try to make excuses to not do YouTube in like 2022, and he almost cussed me out for not doing it. And then 3, Jason Morris. All 3 of them called me, because I used to, like, most of my stuff lived on Instagram, and then like all 3 of them called me and said, dude, do YouTube. And then I said no, and then they yelled at me, and then I said yes. Videos, Asian weddings, great pay for the day. Stream full coverage. Do you stream in 6K, 4 or 60 frames too? Wow. I love the banter. Always talk shit. It's about dog. Yeah. Kobe's big old hands can't turn on the stream fast enough. He's got to try. Hey, Cam, leave me alone. Rumor has it that Fro knows best as Cam Mackey's YouTube inspiration. I've only met Jared once, and I think there was more professional ways of being able to be frustrated with the subscriber count that you have and your maturity on the platform. And if saying that makes it sound like I'm talking down to you, you might want to do a deep dive into figuring out why you put yourself there in the first place. There, I said it. Hey, 4K 60 comment is regarded shooting for an hour plus consumer camera with regards to. Oh yeah, also it was a joke. People shoot for over an hour. Even people that like, I don't think they shoot continuously. To be honest with you, I think they'll shoot in the mode of 4K 60 for long times, but I don't think they just turn it on and leave it. I know late to the party. I just wanted to say, hope all these brand wars stop. Arguing is silly when we're lucky. Yes, absolutely. Again, we could be critical. I just think the personal attacks is crazy. Cam accuracy and Kofi. Hey, don't worry. Cam captures it back in blood, so don't worry about it. Who said my name is Andre? I'm a firearms creator. The gun community is really picky about sponsorships, especially with free gear, and God forbid you get a check from a brand. Is that because it's firearms? I wonder if that's because they're guns. But yeah, same thing. Oh, you have my curiosity, now you have my attention. Hey, I'm not saying any more information than I need to. Does the A75 technically have all the specs required to do OpenGate in a future update? Or it can't? I think it does. Just whether or not Sony wants to do it is up to them. NIL deals the USA change how we do sports coverage. Peeps are taking moments out of the full day sporting events. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I've only worked with NIL athletes in like the other side of things. So like when they do ad stuff with different brands, that's when I've only worked with NIL athletes, but that's good to know. Do you guys do that broadcast on the mirrorless cameras, or do you guys just use like stuff that works with the Raven Eye tech? Because I know that's on the NFL, so I'm assuming it's going to make its way down anyway. All the menus are. Oh yeah, DI autofocus is wild. If we see Kofi doing a hockey shoot in Finland, we know why. Yeah, I was paid to. If you see me out playing around in the snow, you know that I'm making money. If we were to start over today building a YouTube channel, what would be your advice? My thing is to find the system that you have, make as many videos as humanly possible up until the point where it's exhausting to make the next video, and then try something else. Like look at your channel more as like a library than it is just making one video at a time. Because for me personally, I didn't know, like I knew this but didn't know this. It started binge sessions where people were watching like multiple videos on the FX3 and the FX6, and that helped out a lot when I started. Are they marketing the Bentelman nerds that are into anime tech nerds, Marcus Brownlee cameras? Hey, you know what? That might, if I could pull off having a channel with all those, I would. What beginner camera, cinema camera with internal lenses would you recommend for running gun documentary filmmaker who also needs autofocus? I think you're only looking at the FX6. I think if you can get one used. Do they need British, Pakistani, American? Yes, actually, absolutely yes. I am way off. If I say things OpenGate is not needed, should have the same take for mini H. Yes, that is. Yeah, we made it past this already. Brands don't matter. We make when as people save for a long time and get their gear and enjoy what they have, not to trash them for it. It's like getting into politics and camera. It's sad. Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think it's reasonable to say, hey, I would like to have this thing. I don't think it's reasonable to say I'd like to have this thing, and everybody that doesn't agree with me is an idiot. That's wild. My wife Katie says your last video was super funny. Which one? Because I'm not that funny. What about overheating? We will test today. Have you tested second-based ISOs at really 8,000? We will find out today. Has Nikon talked about why they don't have OpenGate? A little bit. I think it might be like a technological limitation on a body that's that small. I think that was like the most of what I saw. Also, I think because, from what I understand, Nikon, when they introduce a new mode, like it has to be perfect. Like they're very much sticklers for making sure that there isn't any drawbacks on that open gate mode. And if they can't figure it out, they will just kind of like wait it out until they do, which kind of, I guess, is weird because their raw capabilities works perfectly fine, but there's also features that don't work as well. But that was what I got. What I got was if they can do it, they absolutely will, but they just haven't figured out how to do that without a major compromise in exchange, which I'm assuming that compromise might be overheating. So if they can do it, they're absolutely going to do it. I don't think there's no sort of protection of anything else. I think if they can do it, they certifiably will. I just don't know if they figured out how to do it and not limit something else in exchange. Which one should I buy? Hey, Cody, I don't know, bro. What are the new creative look recipes? I don't know yet. I haven't downloaded them. Does Red have OpenGate on any camera? Yes, actually, they do. All Red cameras shoot OpenGate because OpenGate refers to using the full width of the sensor, and Red sensors are natively 17:9. When it comes to YouTube, how do you balance quality versus quantity? Seems like to succeed, you have to get over people, your ego. Yes. Exactly that. Get over your ego, because most people just want their questions answered and they want to connect with people. They don't care as much about quality as much as you do. Like, you can put up a 6.5, 7.5, and that's somebody else's 11. So you have to keep that in mind. Can't wait to see even count on two hands how many NDAs I'm a part of. Bro, I got a lot of NDAs, bro. I got a lot of things I gotta be careful and shut the hell up about. So, and someone just freelance tracking new clients, dress for the job you want to work with. So doing spec projects, also going to a lot of connection events and stuff like that. Or even honestly, like if there's production companies that are doing things, just make yourself available. Like I talked to Andre, and you know this guy, Daryl Wong. I got a gig with him operating next week, and I was just because I opened myself up. I said, "Hey, I'm in the city. I travel a lot. I'm home for the next little bit. If you need any help, I'm here. Don't worry about it." And that's how you get your foot in the door. So just make yourself available, but also still work on your own skills at the same time. The one where you gave a definition where you were, oh yeah, the 4 to 6 inch. Okay, so the last video I said is eventually people are going to want the 6 instead of the 4, and then I realized that that could be seen as something different. So I said camera stuff, not the other thing. I don't have any. I've never seen it. Never used it. Does Brandon Jarrell pronounce your name properly, by the way? No. Kofi, yeah. Yeboah is with a Ghanaian accent. Yeboah if you're English. I'll still be in Ghana. I won't come back until close to February. If this is too personal, skip it. But I'm wondering how you get customs with all your gear. I could barely pass through with a DJI Air drone. I know there are several ways, but what's the Kofi's way? Well, usually you get something called a carnet, which you will get if you are Canadian going to the United States working. But also, I don't work with American company. Like all the companies I work with when I do work isn't an American company. So whenever I had gone to the United States, it was working with a Canadian company as a Canadian contractor. So you still need to bring a carnet. You still have to do all the other paperwork in order to do that to get through customs. But also, I don't bring big cameras across the border. That's insane. So yeah. What's the average file for lossless compressed? Is it the new uncompressed? Okay, good question. There are two types of creator. Established means direct connection with brand that might have sponsorships, and a regular Joe, literally just a guy making content for the fun. I guess so. But literally one inevitably turns into the other when you get better at it. King Harv, nah, most of these guys act like they never said shit in their life. What did King Harv say? I missed that. Yeah, nah, that wouldn't happen, bro. Half the people on YouTube ain't with the shits like that. I live in the suburbs, but you don't think I don't throw hands. That's crazy. For the Sony cams, I just use a frame guide and pay attention. It doesn't really affect me without having open gate, but I also have an S5 2X. So there you go. We need a Ghana live stream. Yeah, I'm definitely. That's actually gonna happen. I need Wi-Fi. Kobe, we need your best white accent, brother. I live in Canada. This is my best white accent. The population of black people in Canada is about 3.5%. There are more people of color. There are more African Americans in America than the Canadian population. So yeah, I only sound like what my parents sound like, which are also immigrants that only learned how to speak English from Americans. So there's that. Okay, I gotta go. I got like 35 minutes to make it to the studio. I might actually be late to the shoot for the first time. But thank you all for coming. Thanks for the super chats to Anonymous, Greg, and Mac as always. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I gotta go. I'm gonna go test out this A75. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave it on the replay. So I'll see you guys later.